Oh, Mr. Pennis. Uh-oh.
What is it?
And G is here, and no stick. Oh, no stigma. All right. Oh my God, we're gonna have a good time tonight.
Yes, sir.
Let me
We
get
still
these.
have some more people coming.
Hey, I'm game. Let's see. Let's see what's going on here. All right. Let me just eat this Sugar Jack gummy right here.
Let me see something. That's my...
See what this do.
No, Stick, how you doing? Can you hear you, young lady?
Okay, can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Yeah, we can now.
I'm on mute. Thank you. Hello. Hi, everyone. Good evening.
Hello,
Oh,
hello.
how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I see Mr. Penn again.
Well, yes, ma'am.
Let me see who else I need.
I got a rule, man. If we're on the same panel, and especially in Lolita's panel, I gotta follow everybody here. That's a must.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because if you're up here, then you belong.
You made it, huh? So you made it once you make
Speaks.
Jack.
Made it to the Friday night. Let's go.
Let you guys let me know if you see Wisdom or Sydney down in the chat, please. Yeah. Has anybody on your side noticed like the share thing change a little bit, like more difficult to find people?
It switches up. It's playing
Yeah,
games
it's
too.
like driving me crazy. Like,
It does that to drive you nuts. It shows up and then it disappears and it hides behind another button. And it's
well, I'm
like
talking about just the people that are on there. Like, usually the most recent people that you inboxed or chatted with or something are showing on your share, but I don't see people that I've been chatting with today. So where are these people?
anything to drive you crazy.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna. Oh, it's showing. That's weird. It's different on my tablet than it is my phone.
Oh
That
yeah.
the button I'm looking for is on my tablet, but it wasn't on my phone before. All right, we're gonna get started in a couple of minutes. At 10 after, no matter who's here, we will be getting started. I'll put one last song on for a couple of minutes. That's the other song.
I wrote a song for you, and I forgot it. So when I remember it, I'm gonna write it down. Right?
For me?
Yeah.
Okay. This should be interesting.
Like an introduction.
So long, I must have superpowers. Rap 225,000 hours. Get a calculator.
So it has words to it, or is it just music?
No, it has words. It has
Okay.
words.
Oh, that should be interesting. I want to listen to this, or me.
Get your beats. I heard 93 rappers say
You dance talented?
two saying.
No stigma. Can you dance?
Yell it every time you see me in. What's my favorite?
No.
Listen, they don't call me the Vanilla Gorilla for nothing. You know what I'm saying?
The Vanilla Gorilla?
That's right. I'm the Vanilla Gorilla. Let's go.
Man, not tonight. Not tonight.
I saw you on Wednesday, man. That show was something else. Let me tell
Hey,
you.
they got a little crazy, man. I was excited, man. We had some crazy numbers popping up.
I saw that. I saw the gifts. I saw the likes. I saw the people that were paying it. I was like, hey, these guys are doing good.
It's all about the fellas, man. The fellas make it happen.
I was laughing for like a good 20 minutes straight, man. I was like, this is wild.
Yo, tell when you gonna come visit us?
I'm gonna come through.
You coming to the ATL TikTok takeover?
I will go to Australia if you want to go. I'll go anywhere you guys go.
Oh, okay, well, It'd be nice to meet you. Okay, here we go. We're gonna go ahead and get started. All right. All right, and go ahead and set the room. I want to thank everybody for coming by tonight. We will be talking about social media dating. We have people that will be coming in throughout the night, so this is not everyone who will be participating. Some of your favorites may show up later. Also, it's a closed panel, so the people that are coming up were pre-invited by invitation only. So, but the only time that people in the chat will be able to come up is hello, Concrete Rose. Only time you'll be able to come up is at the end when we do the questions. So if you want to be able to ask questions, you got to stay till later on in the evening. And we will go with that. We'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to go talented 10th. And first question is going to be going to G. Devon.
Big G. Yes,
What I'd like to do, the way I do like people to do the introductions now is I'll ask you the question, and then you can tell everyone about yourself, and then you can answer the question. What role does dating app culture play in shaping modern expectations around relationships?
Man, I am Gregory Devon out of Durham, North Carolina. I am a pastor by trade. I also work in corporate America. To answer your question in regard to dating apps shaping culture in regard to dating, I think expectations get shaped because an assumption that we make is that dating online makes things easier. And I think what we don't realize is that your experience should be dictated by your mindset towards dating. And oftentimes we come to dating apps and the expectation is, well, since the pool should be more so wide open and I have a larger access to people, I should have more success. When the truth of the matter is, the more people you have access to, arguably the harder things become. Because if you enter that pool and do not understand what I should swim, it doesn't matter who you have access to. And I found that a lot of people bring an expectation to online dating that does not yield good results. You know, there's nothing wrong with a dating pool at all. I know it's often said that dating pool has pee in it. I don't believe that. I think that we just can't swim. I think the dating pool is what it is. You know, I think that you have to know how well can I swim. If I don't swim well, let me stay in 3 feet, right? I swim a little bit, go to 5 feet. But don't jump in the deep water if you cannot swim very well. And a lot of times, many of us, again, our personal lives oftentimes suggest that dating might not be a good idea for me in this season of my life. And with that being said, we sometimes don't listen to what our own life is telling us. So now I enter this pool of dating and mess somebody else's life up. So now their expectation is impacted by my not being prepared. You know, we oftentimes say, well, I'm ready for love. The great R&B prophet, India.Arie, said, I'm ready for love. Why you hiding from me? But it's not about being ready. Are you prepared for love is the question. And a lot of times our expectation does not match our preparation. So therefore I enter this dating pool and I'm saying I'm ready for love. I want to connect. But now I find myself more so, instead of impacting somebody's life, I'm infecting somebody's life in a negative way. Because again, I'm not prepared for the gravity or the weight that love holds. My expectation has told me that, well, it should be a very, very fast experience for me. I should find somebody very, very quickly. There's this phenomenon that's on social media and even on dating apps that is telling people that, well, when a man sees you, he knows if you are the one. Well, there might be some. That is not going to be the average person's experience. I would argue that's really not anybody's experience, because when you speak in retrospect, I can always say, oh, I do. The very first time I saw her. Yeah, it's easy for you to say now. What did you say then? And my thing is, with the false information or the fantasy, I should say, being passed around so much, we come to this experience of online dating, and the expectation that we have is unrealistic. Like what you really desire to see can't really happen because it happens for nobody like that. But you convinced yourself if somebody said that, well, it must be true. This is why you have a lot of people who are hurt, heartbroken, disappointed. But instead of us, like corporate America says that it is never ever a people problem, it's a process problem. Well, who's checking that process? We never ever back this train up and check the expectation of our process. In business, I only get us the same product with the same process. But many of us have always said, you know what? It's got to be something wrong with you. It can't be me. So again, the expectation that we bring to online dating is, I'm ready. If it doesn't work, it's on you. But we never say, I got to be accountable to my process. What is my process? How have I approached this thing? Maybe I'm out of whack. Maybe I'm out of line. And because I never check my process, I continue to expect success, not realizing I've never ever created a formula for success. So now I'm dating Russian roulette. It's whatever happens, happens. Now I don't say that rationally, but my actions suggest I'm gonna see what happens, and I have no rhyme or reason into what I'm doing. And then, God forbid, if we happen to consult a professional and what they say doesn't match what we think, now the coach must be wrong or the therapist must be wrong. Because again, what they're saying doesn't match what I think. So at the end of the day, if we never check the expectation that we have to see, is it realistic, then we'll never see the success that we want. And we cannot allow a dating app or social media to drive how we think. But at the end of the day, my experience is driven by how I approach this thing. Do I know what I want in somebody and from somebody? Do I know how I want to show up? And there are a lot of elementary things that we have never thought about, but we are expecting a dating app to solve our crisis. And I'll end there for now.
Would anyone like to add to that?
I would love to, but I have to process what he just said.
You said you got to know how to swim, brother.
No, listen.
I love it, man.
I take notes.
Me too.
He made a very interesting reference to we can't blame the game, or we can't blame the with the agency, right? We can't blame that. We have to take accountability of our role, and stay out of the deep water if you don't know how to swim. I got you. That was good.
Thank you, brother.
Very.
All right, Mr. Penn, do you think the ease of swiping creates a sense of disposability in dating?
Oh, absolutely. One thing we learned with dating now in this modern day and age is we are living in a world where relationships are processed like a microwave, right? It's quick, fast, and in a hurry. But we also we are dealing with people nowadays that have a multitude of different options because we live in a technologically advanced world. With that being said, we run into the issue of people being expendable. And that's what we are coming to realize, is that we are expendable. Because what you may not do or what you won't do for someone else, I can swipe my thumb left or right and change the narrative of my own life in that moment because I have more options. And when people are dating with those type of options or even those type of intentions, it's scary out here. And that's the one thing we have to look at, because now we have people that are so in a position now because they know and they understand how expendable and how worthless they can be. Even though they know their own worth, they are out here dating out of fear because people have these options readily at their fingertips. So now you got people that are just clinging to not even relationships. They're clinging to situationship. They're clinging to companionship. They're clinging to any ship that will stay afloat long enough for them to get something and feel something out of that situation because they already know that they are expendable. But at the same time, in the same token, those people that know that they're expendable also understand that they have the same options that the other people have, which is a variety. We live in a digital smorgasbord where, again, you don't, it's not about having just one pick. You have your pick of the litter every time you swipe because you may find that somebody you like is not the person that you like because guess what? You always looking for that next swipe. You're always looking to see what's next or who's next. So when you do that, you're not dating with the intent or the purpose to actually find someone. You're dating with the intent and the purpose to find what best suits you in that moment. So yeah, we run into the issues where swiping and dating the way that they have the algorithm set up is just that. It's almost like the relationship status where like you have this person on floor number 5 that is this, and this, but then like on floor number 6, somebody adds something extra to what floor number 5 have. Are you gonna stay at floor number 5 or you gonna keep going to floor number 6 and vice versa as it goes to the ladder until you get up to the top floor and you realize ain't nothing there. You know what I'm saying? Because you are so intrigued by trying to find something better. So yeah, we're not out here dating with the intent to find our person anymore. We're out here dating with the intent to find something better than the situation or the relationship that we are in right now.
Anybody have any further insight into that?
I got a quick question for him. Man, this is interesting. You said, so basically they're not even, you're saying that they're doing this for whatever moment is, whatever mood or moment they're in, that they can swipe just to take care of the moment or the mood?
Absolutely. Yeah, people are instantaneously dating. They are like I say, it's like a microwave. You just throw it in there for 30 seconds and see if it's hot enough. If it ain't hot enough, you throw it back in there for another 30 seconds. But what you throwing back in there is a whole different person. So people are not dating with the same morale and the morals that they had previously before technology.
So that's kind of sad. And I looked up smorgasbord. I know what it is, but I wanted to learn how to spell it. So thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't agree with you more, Mr. Penn. You know, we talk about disposability. We have this fascination nowadays with the one, you know, and as if it is meant that there's one person on this earth out of 8 billion people, right, that you could possibly be with. That's just not true. You know, even inside of the church, you know, we're fascinated on the one. Well, nowhere in scripture do you find that. The Bible says become one, not find the one. That means that in regard to love, it's not about finding love. It's really about destroying the barriers that keep you from love. That's the issue for many of us, is that there are barriers that keep us from love. That's like when you actually find somebody, if you're saying to yourself, I'm trying to find the one, you'll expect perfection out of this person. So now when they miss the mark, you can't take it. When they miss the mark, you won't work through a problem. So you said to yourself, they're supposed to be the one. There should be no problem. When the reality is healthy conversation, healthy relationships require multiple conversations. You got to be uncomfortable in a healthy relationship to work through something with this person.
Absolutely.
You have to trust the fact that, you know what, I do love you and you do love me. But loving each other in no world means I can't hurt you or you can't hurt me. Because the truth of the matter is, a perfect man named Jesus was betrayed by someone in his circle of 12. Then what that us who are alive today won't be betrayed by somebody that we love? Now, I know somebody is saying, well, no, if you love somebody, you would never betray them. Not intentionally, but there are some things happen and you have to come behind that and talk about how it happened. Whatever it is, there are things that break down relationships. There are things that cause you to may think this person is disposable because, well, if you love me, you wouldn't do that. which goes back to what? The expectation. You
Mhm.
expected perfection, or they were the one. Well, the one is going to hurt you. The more you love somebody and the more they love you, guess what? The greater the chance to be hurt because your feelings are not involved in here. And when you in your feelings, you feel what? Some type of way.
Well, you just said something about uncomfortability, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is uncomfortability promotes change under the right circumstances, right? So when I say that, I look at it this way: is carbon comfortable under pressure and heat? Absolutely not. But under that pressure and that heat, what comes out of that carbon? A diamond, right? So again, we as people, we have to learn how to be uncomfortable in the skin that we're in. And when we are dating people, we have to be uncomfortable. But that's the problem is we don't like the uncomfortability. So again, we go and we outsource a sense of comfort. That's what we're doing. We're swiping, we're outsourcing for a different sense of comfort. We're not really standing in that situation. We are just we are contracting people to reserve spaces in our lives in those moments that we are swiping.
Mr. Penn, introduce yourself, please.
So my name is Mr. Penn. I am the wearer of many hats. But no, I am not a life coach. There's a lot of life coaches in here, and there's a lot of great people that I do know. I tell people I'm a personal cheerleader. I'm just here to cheer you on through life. That's what I do. So for the life coaches that are in here that I do know, and I speak to my women's mindset coach down there, they said no stigma up there, and I'm just a cheerleader out here. I got my pom poms out, and I'm just helping people out, you know. So, but I speak from experience because I feel like even through tragedies that I've been through, that other people can find triumph. So,
Thank you. Thank you for joining your for the first time.
thank you. I
Appreciate it.
appreciate you for having me.
Sydney, welcome in, and No Sigma. Excuse me, Wisdom.
Hello.
Wisdom Speaks. No Sigma was already here. Wisdom Speaks. Good evening, you guys.
Good evening.
All right.
Tonight, just having technical difficulties.
Yeah.
All right. We were going over to you next, Sydney. How has social media changed the way people form romantic connections compared to traditional methods?
So there are two parts. There's a good and a bad, I believe, depending on where you are and what it is that you're looking for. I think that in the bad way, social media has caused people to hide behind the camera and become something, or the phone, and become something that they're really not. They're able to portray this person that they're not really. It also, because of the swipe culture that we're in on social media, it causes people to never be satisfied, right? Like if I keep swiping, maybe I'm gonna find something that's better, right? Or if I keep scrolling, maybe I'm gonna find something that's better. And so I believe that that's kind of like the biggest problem, right? People just they're not able to choose what it is they want because they're steadily looking. It's always something new in front of them, right? The good way, I believe, that social media can shape relationships in a good way is it allows people to sometimes see a person first, right? So when you meet, like back in the day when we met in person, we had to meet, we had to exchange numbers, we had to talk on the telephone and get to know each other, and then we had to decide if we were going to meet up for a date. With social media and internet dating, it allows you to get a chance to talk to a person first. So the whole meeting in person part, you see a person quickly, or maybe you got a chance to hang out, but and online dating, you get a chance to form some type of connection through either the internet or the phone before you actually meet that person, which for some people, it can make it a little bit more safe, right? You can control it a little bit more. The traditional way, I think, I want to say now that I'm looking at it, I think was good because I feel like a lot more men had no choice but to talk on the phone back in the day, right? The traditional way. And I'm not going all the way back to before me. I'm just going to before me, right? I mean, with me. Men had to talk on the phone. That's the only way they were able to. Now that we have social media, internet, and texting, you find a lot of men who are like, they're really not phone talkers. They really don't talk that much. And so they prefer to hide behind texting, which is not allowing people to really get good communication going. So I said go on and on, but I know that you guys probably want to jump in on it too. So that's where I'm going to land for now.
Okay, thank you, Sid. Would
Yeah.
anyone? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I think that, like what she said, about texting, right? Even texting someone constantly creates a boundary, right? Because it's so inhumane. And when I say that, like, there's no human composure behind a text message. A text message can be interpreted the way that you interpret it based off of how you read it. When you actually talk to someone, you actually get those feelings and those emotions. You understand exactly how that person is conveying what they are saying. Like, I never knew. Again, I grew up old school, so like I would go to the mall on the weekends and have my notepad and my pen, like ready to go get me some numbers. You know what I'm saying? Like I got a quota to make. You know what I'm saying? It's a business for me. Like I at least got to get 5, because if I get 5, at least if 3 of them wrong, 2 of them gonna be right. So I'm okay. But again, like I never knew that when somebody typed something out in all caps that they were yelling. You know what I'm saying? Like, because for me that don't work. That doesn't correspond to me. So again, like. It's very it's inhuman to constantly text someone. But then you also have to, like what Sydney was saying, if you have to, even in conversations that you're having, meeting someone or dating someone in this digital age, you have to be able to progress. There's too much technology out here for you not to progress with that person. If you're texting and then you evolve that to a phone call, and then with that phone call, you say, well, hey, let's FaceTime or let's video chat or whatever. And this person's like, no, I'm not doing that. Then again, that might not be for you. You know what I'm saying? Because again, that person is not ready to present themselves to you. So in that same token, I'm going to go back over here and I'm going to swipe again, because guess what? This person is not meeting that criteria. This person is not allowing me to actually get to know them in a way that works for me. So we're meeting people not where they're at. We're meeting people where we want them to be, and because we're doing that, we're also being met with disappointment in the long run. So yeah, it has its pros and its cons to it, but absolutely, I totally agree with Sid as far as how that works out. It can be very disheartening when all you're getting is text messages all day, every day, when you need more of that. We all need physical human contact, you know what I'm saying, at some point. And people's voices resonate at certain frequencies that either appease us or repel us. So everything that we do vibrates at a specific frequency as human beings, and we need that exchange of energy. Right. And when we don't get it, it can be very difficult.
I got a question for anybody who want to answer. Were we ever good communicators?
I think
As a people, what you talking about, Short?
I mean, people, as far as how we connected, as far as communicating. Were we ever good communicating? Because for me, there's no difference. Because I was just like you. I just go to the mall with a pen and paper trying to get numbers. There's no difference from going to the mall trying to get numbers and swiping and trying to get attention. It's just a different process. It's the same thing.
And the only thing that's different is that you meet them in person for the first time. When you meet, you get to connect. Right. But after that, it goes straight to the phone. So I don't know.
It goes back to communicating again.
Yeah,
but I think it's that human aspect, though, actually putting a voice to a face or something like that. When you talk to some, like, I'm pretty sure we've all been in that situation where, you know what I'm saying, we've seen somebody's picture and they really do, they do it for us. They're like, oh, I can't wait to talk to you. And then they pick up the phone and they sound like Minnie Mouse. You're like, I can't do it. Like I just, or that one guy that you think is going to have that really deep, nice voice. And he talks in a real high pitched falsetto. You're like, I don't know. So again, it becomes selective at that point, because like I say, when we were old school, like we were like, hey, can I get your number? And either she liked you or she didn't like you. You know what I'm saying? Or vice versa. So yeah, it's not about, I don't know if it's about really being great communicators, K Short. I think it's more about actually feeling something in that moment, like actually feeling their presence and actually understanding if you either want to get to know them or not. Because, we was fellas, you know what I'm saying? We go to the mall and the chick, we might be dressed to death, fresh to death. You know what I'm saying? We laid out. We got our fresh pair of shoes on, best jeans, shirt. And as soon as we open our mouth to talk to this chick, like that, she'd be like, I don't know if I like him. But now we are doing that just based solely off of what people look like. Like, I like this person, I don't like this person. I like this person, I don't like this person.
Right, but I think that's the beauty of it. See, understand this. We didn't have choices. See, you wanna maximize my opportunity, but tell me to stay the same.
Keith, can I touch on that real quick? Because
Yeah, go ahead.
you struck a nerve, and I love when you do that. Can we say, based on your question, that the old reference, where there is a will, there's a way, is now out the door?
See, the biggest problem is
That's the difference. We old school, right? Back in the days, if there was a will, we would find a way because
But we didn't know no better. We was young.
yeah, but that manifestation was real. When you had that will, you will find a way to communicate or find this person. Now, even the language is so fast that we can't keep up with the language. So communication is impossible because have you seen how fast new words travel among groups? And then it's not like,
Right.
you understand what I'm saying? Like words
No, you're totally right.
take so long to get from one side of town to the other, just in one town. Now, new language, we're creators of language, right? We come up with new like shortcuts, how to say things. Have you noticed how fast these shortcut words just get played out?
Right.
You know,
See, this is the deal, though, bro.
oh, I'm sorry, I didn't introduce. Wisdom Speaks. I'm a little late to the class. Good evening, everybody on the panel. Thank you for having me go. Good evening, everybody in the chat. If I can jump in with that, I would say, K Short, that I think we're missing. I wouldn't call it a crucial element. I just think we're missing a fragment of the story where, when you met somebody in person, it is said the eyes are the windows to the soul. When you had to look at somebody, you were able to read body language, not just where we see it, where it decreases our emotional connectivity by the online ability. We don't have the same ability to read as we did when we met someone. We don't have the same ability to communicate in social settings because we're used to communicating with images. We're not used to communicating with living beings anymore. And I think that just even in the increase of catfish and the increase of deception behind the image is a little more difficult than it was in the actual personage. When somebody would meet a person, say they spoke on the phone first and then they met in person, it was a little more difficult to hide behind that. And I think we lose a few more things when we focus on the images, and that's part of what social media offers us. It offers us imagery, and then the snapshot that changes even from the second of the image that's taken. It's just, I think it's a little, it decreases our emotional ability to connect with people. And I think we lost a little bit of that when we moved from human to technology. That's just a thought.
Okay, hold on.
You
I'm not
know what,
saying
K Short?
Hold on 1 second. Let me finish my thought before I forget it. I didn't say we didn't lose anything. What I'm saying is that this. We can't advance the world and stay the same. We can't pick and choose what we want to stay the same. You know what I mean? We got self-driving cars.
Mhm.
You understand what I'm saying? My mama went to school. When she first went to school, she was on a horse and buggy.
Mhm.
I'm not going to do that. That's not even interesting to me. So we want, we can't play this. We want to advance how we want to advance. You know what I mean? Like, I just think, here's the deal. People see people every day. They just don't talk to them. That's a choice.
Mhm.
See, we're adults now. We're trying to compare what we did when we was 16 to 30. Now we're 50 because those choices we made from 16 to 30 brought us single at 50. So come on now. You can't have one without the other. Anytime you're going to gain here, you're going to lose here.
I'll
That's
agree
just
with you
how
on
the
that.
world goes. That's evolution.
I'll agree with that. What I'll say is, I think it's just the ability to put it in a better order, a proper order, to say that it works where people are out of town, out of city, out of state, where that's something that they can use. But I just think that the ability to put that in front of is where our young people don't have the same social skills that we once had.
They don't need them.
Kids were outside, kids were in community, kids met with one another, where now they're all behind the screens. Everybody has a different confidence,
Right.
and they have a lack of confidence in the actual personage, where behind the screens their confidence is increased. So it doesn't allow them, again, the connectivity that they're requiring when they actually meet in physical settings. So it's great. I just think the acceptance and the order of it is not proper at the moment. I think it's one of those things where it can be utilized where and when necessary. Like when they do this with education, where they have online classes for continuing adults who can't. It has a place. I'll agree with you on that. I just simply think that there's an order to all things, even in advancement, because it has to have a transition of sorts that makes sense.
Okay, hold tight. I got a question for you then. So we shouldn't be friends. We shouldn't make friends off social media.
Oh no, absolutely, you can use it. I say forget for people who are not in the same spaces though. So if you and I lived in the same city and we met here, we would more than likely be in a social setting already. This would be something that we use in our convenience because of your work schedule, my work schedule. So it would have a place. Again, it has a place for transition, but it's not the first thing you go to. And I think that's where we're losing right now in the culture. We're losing the ability to do these things naturally like we used to do. There's not as many social settings that there used to be because
But
you're
we're losing it just not just on dating. We're losing it in every aspect of life.
Yeah, but that's the point. Is K Short? We grew up in a world where
It's gone.
you know what I'm saying? We grew up in a world where we were social, right? We used to have socials at school, like dances. They would call them socials, right? We would have those. We now live in a world, and we, even in our age group, we're trying to keep up with the ways of the world where we grew up in a world where we're social, and everybody now is socially antisocial.
We evolved with little kids, man.
Yeah, but we're
Huh?
saying that. But the very people that, and I'm not just specifically talking about everybody in these boxes, but the very people that are on social media still don't have. So we're saying that we were the ones who had it. We don't have it anymore. Let's just say that.
But we didn't do nothing with it when we had it. See, hold on. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just don't believe worrying about the past. I just don't, because it don't take you anywhere. All I'm saying is this. We had all that stuff you guys talking about, and it still wasn't successful.
disagree.
Who says you weren't successful though?
Disagree.
As a whole, I'm not saying individuals, and I'm not talking about people like you, Wisdom, because of unfortunate situations with your marriage. But I just mean in general, as far as general relationship. A lot of relationships, we always happy. They just together because they have no choice.
So no, we're not saying that people stay together because of meeting in person or online. That's not what we're saying. We're just saying that how has it changed how people see things based off of the way that social media and internet dating is now compared to the way that it was traditionally. And so it's not that it was such a failure back then. It's just saying that how is it shaping and changing? Now, when we talk about the younger people, I get it. Things are gonna be for them the way that things are because that's all they know, right? But all of us that are on here are really over 40. So we're talking about us because who in these boxes is married?
People from back in the day.
Exactly. So that's not a negative thing because I'm happy. But my point is that us, what can we fix about us? Because I get it. And I'm not trying to be mean because we're always talking about how we can help the younger generation do this and how we can help the people behind. And we still need help. We still
change our mindset.
Yeah, but K Short, if I gotta use a thesaurus to figure out what an emoji is, I don't want it.
Okay, well, don't worry about the emoji. Don't worry about the emoji.
I got it because that's how people talk nowadays.
No, but don't talk to them. See, this is different.
But I'm saying these are people that are our age now that are trying to keep up with the Joneses. That's my point. I'm not doing
stop doing it. We're adults.
Hey, look, these folks is up here trying to keep up with the Joneses in our age group. They trying to play the same game that these young people
you
are
have
playing.
to move forward though, or you're gonna get left behind.
Right, that's my point. But I'm just saying though, I can't use a thesaurus every time somebody hit me with emoji. I'll be like, "What is this?" I gotta go ask Google every time. Well, what is this? I'm tired of that.
You're not the only one,
call
Mr.
me.
Penn.
You have Google. You
Like
have
call
Google.
me, call me. Just call me. Call me, FaceTime me. We talking. I ain't got time for all that things.
The positive direction, what I think is that social media and online dating can change how people connect, right? We know that it's changing how people connect. I think that back then our box was small. Now our box is huge, right? And even though the whole swipe left, swipe right era is there, and people are not stopping because, like we said, the highlight reel, people want to see what's next, what's next. Okay, I just met her. She was cute. I just met him. He was fine, but let me see if I can find somebody finer, right? So we're not taking the time to stop to get to know people because we're like, okay, our options are so big. But in the positive direction, it has opened up our boxes so that we can think out of the box and live outside of the box. Because none of us, and some of us in these boxes are very well connected because we have connected outside of these boxes, and we wouldn't know each other if it were not for social media. And I'm even going to say internet dating, because some people K Short met somebody on an online dating app that has become a best friend of his who is now on TikTok. So we don't know where these things are going to take us. And I feel like those of us that are intentional about everything in our lives, like dating, like networking for business, like expanding, we're gonna need the internet and social media, and you just might find your husband or wife there. So people need to be more open, is what I'm saying, and stop being stuck in the what we were, because what we are is now. And we got to figure this thing out, get this communication thing together, and know that there are some people that are intentional about being real on here, and there are some people that are going to be intentional about being a-holes, and they would have done that had you met them at the grocery store.
Because people, we still see people every day. We choosing not to talk. See, I'm gonna tell you what the problem is. That I feel the problem is, we don't know how to date 50. There's no manual. There's no time in history. You feel me? And we want to talk about what we were when we was coming up. Most of us divorced from the way we came up. So instead of trying to tell the world now that's moving forward, hey, y'all should go back then. We need to figure out how to act now.
That's what I'm saying.
But the only way
Because it's not going anywhere. I'm
to
telling
figure out
you,
what
I'm gonna
we
shut up. When I walked into that schoolhouse this year, my first time teaching kids, no chalkboard. I'm like, how you got school without chalkboard? No books, no homework. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sitting there freaking out because the world has changed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't give my students homework. Because all they're gonna do is AI it.
I agree with you on that. I just think
That's
there's
all I'm
something
saying. That's all I'm
from our
saying.
past that we are required to have by foundational principles that we have to incorporate in this now. Even if we go through with the now, our vetting abilities, our courting abilities, I think the missing key where the difficulty comes in is that the ability for people to learn first themselves and then the other people, because social media has sold us imagery, sold us lifestyles, sold us advertisements that, as you said, we are advanced, very true. But sometimes my thing is, I think if you choose to change, it works well. When the change chooses you, it doesn't work so well.
Nope.
So I'm thinking that we're not having the time frame which in order to choose these changes that make sense, because they're not in our control. We are not controlling this narrative. Social media is not our cultural property. It is a public space that, again, people are buying into. And as they're buying into this, it's beyond their ability to shape the narrative because they have to fit this square peg in a round hole. And so when everyone's trying to speed up, when they actually have to start slow first, you crawl, you walk, you run. We're in the running phase, and people haven't properly learned how to walk yet. So I'm thinking that there's just a few things that have to go a little slower, and I think there's a few things that have to be conditioned in how we came to get here. Because if you don't know how you got here, you don't know where you're going. Right. And I think there's a lot of things that have been forgotten for the right now that you need to come with. So if you don't have the prerequisites, then you are not qualified to go forward. And I think a lot of people are saying, okay, well, right now, let me jump out there right now. People will talk about work, they'll talk about healing, but there's no way to do these things in isolation and then say, okay, I'm with the time, because the time is now. The time is always now. Every breath is now. However, the advancement is beyond the now, because we're always talking about the future. What's the next step? What's the next progress? But we're looking at solutions that we have yet to identify the problem to. The problem is the fragments and the missing pieces that we're not utilizing in order to substantiate what we need to stabilize maintenance. Because we're not able to function in this. So that part is for me. Go ahead.
And we're afraid to say, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to date. I don't know what it means when a man don't call me back.
Right.
Because I'm 55. I got a house and a job and a car. Why won't he call me back? Why do this woman don't call me back? Because we sold ourselves to ourselves, but we don't realize you got to sell yourself to me. See, the choices we making are rational choices. We choose to listen to what we listen to. We choose to accept what we accept. And I'm not, everybody's right. And that's my deal. I understand everybody's right from their vantage point. So no one's wrong. But what I'm saying is, life is forward. Social media is not going anywhere. And my problem with a lot of 50-year-olds older, they think because I say I like you, you should be with me.
Well, I'd like to jump in if I can, y'all.
Go ahead.
I got a mute.
I'd like to offer a few different things. So, number one is I feel like if you are at the top end of the millennial generation and if you're Gen X, you have value in the traditional way of doing things, and you're also open in a way that boomers tend to not be. They tend to push back the hardest on anything that is technically based or digitally based. And you also have a generation that welcomes in, the new tools, the way that we can shorten a workday, for example, by using, an app that can modify 8 hours into a couple of hours. So I wanted to be able to share that. I think that personally, I believe that dating in the digital age has forced people to be intentional about the way that they communicate and how often they do that. So I want to offer that I feel like everybody is suffering from a degree of ADHD. And a lot of people are like, wait, what did you just say? I want to say that everybody, I don't care who you are on the face of the planet, you are suffering from a degree of ADHD. Whenever the entire planet stops and all you have is time on your hands, what you tend to do is be overstimulated by the world around you. You have all of these little bubbles on your phone. Every single app has red bubbles on it with all of these notifications. And literally, you intend to respond to somebody. But because you have 50 different social media apps on your device, you probably are not going to be as effective at being timely in responding to people. What that tends to do is if you are a self-centered individual, which most people are, you're going to think, oh, they did not respond to me in a timely fashion. They're not interested. I'm moving on. I'm swiping. You're going to block them, probably take their phone number out of your phone. You're going to do all of these things because it's all about you, right?
Yeah.
Don't ever think that technology can fail. Maybe they missed it. Oh my goodness. Maybe they got sick. They had a work project. All of these different things. It's always, oh my goodness, I'm so insecure. Like they don't want me. I'm telling you guys, knock it off. Stop it.
Yeah.
Offer yourself grace. Offer other people grace. It's not about you. You're grown. Knock it off. Don't do that. And so I think that that's one of the things that has really plagued this older generation. And when I say older, by far, not old, still fine, sexy, got it going on, like bright, brilliant, been through some things, know how to make it so that it can work. But I'm thinking that because we are so disengaged with a lot of the opportunities that come our way, we miss the opportunity to collide with the right person.
Right.
I don't know if anybody's ever seen the film Crash from, I think it was like the 1980s, based in Los Angeles, where all of these small stories are all connected, but it's because everybody's in their cars And the only way that they can connect is they collide together. That's how I kind of look at our opportunities to meet the right person. That's not just romantically, that's in business, that is friendships, like all of these things. And we have to nurture these things. So that means that you have to make the decision that you're going to be intentional. Even in social media, you have to be intentional about showing up so that you can be seen. Nobody is just going to come knocking on your door and go, oh my goodness, you're exactly who I was looking for. When has that happened? Like, let's be realistic. That does not happen. Y'all are laughing at me, I know. Anyway, I waited my turn. So just,
Yes,
just
you did.
bear with me. So I want to be able to say we need to understand that this is an opportunity for us to do more than just meet our person for our life partner. This is an opportunity for us to build a solid community. That's why we're all in these little boxes. We're learning more about each other. We support each other. If anybody goes live, folks are showing up, sharing, doing all that stuff. And this is a different form of community. I want to offer that for people of color and ethnic backgrounds, we are accustomed to a sense of community. We are accustomed to being able to support one another. If something happens, you need some sugar, you need some bread. Look, we come from that era, right? So that's the way that we show up in these virtual spaces. So I want to be able to say, leverage these tools to your advantage. Meet the people you need to meet. If you make friends here and you meet in person, let me say this, because this is something that has happened in the dating space virtually that I don't think that people understand. You can meet a person online, you can talk to them, build this connection, and then when you meet live and in person, the chemistry can be a little off. That doesn't mean that that's not your person. It just means that maybe the timing wasn't right. But I'm saying that happens in business. You can be talking about the deal, you get to the table in person to ink the deal, and there's something that's a little off. I need you to trust you. I need you to trust that inner voice that tells you, wait, back up. Maybe we should postpone this a little bit. And I need you to also understand that everybody is probably not going to be your person. So don't look at every single person you encounter as, oh my goodness, this could be the one. Use it and value it for what it is. Everything has value. Everything has value. Even if it's a lesson learned, just do that thing and rest in it and for what it is. Okay, I land on that.
I think we have to realize that as things become easier, naturally something has to become weaker. That's just natural order of things. So I think, Kay Short, your original question was in regard to communication. I think Sydney used a very appropriate word, which she said intent. Like, intent has gotten lost. Conviction is lost. Courage is lost. Romantically speaking, you need all three of those things when you approach someone in a romantic manner. Like, let's go back in the day. I grew up in the 90s. I was born in 1981. So it was common practice. You're at the mall, and let's say if I saw Sydney walk past, I'd be like, you know what I'm saying? But I was intentional to get her attention and walk over there. I have to have courage to walk over there when she turns around. I need conviction to talk to her. I need confidence to say to myself, I'm going to leave with her number. Well, now all of those things are out the window almost. Why? Because it is now easier, and that we have arguably a weaker generation of those who are in pursuit. It is easier now. I do not need conviction. I don't need confidence. I don't need conviction. I don't need courage. Because I'll just inbox a bunch of folk until somebody responds back.
Yep, absolutely. Your odds are in your favor.
Yeah, as it becomes so easy, that's what's wrong. So when you ask, were we ever good communicators? Yeah, when we had to be.
Had to be. That's the key.
Like K Short, if I were going to seek you to be my coach, right? But I never talk about making an appointment and a down payment, then I'm not serious.
No, not at all.
If it costs me something, now you know I'm gonna show up because he paid his deposit. He didn't mind paying for this. Well, on the other end, the payment was what? Conviction, courage, confidence, right? But we've lost those things because they're not required. So we make the mistake of thinking that because it's easier now that it should be better for us to communicate. No, because sometimes to have easy access now, like when is the last time a child had an encyclopedia? I don't know what that is.
Making no more.
Right. So it's like it's easier. So now I have lost intent. I've lost even strength to do something that doesn't take much effort. So my thing is, we got to examine what has worked over time, right? From then until now. There's some good things about now and about back in the day. But we say to ourselves, well, we're unsuccessful now because we trust things nowadays that were not as accessible 50 years ago. Like we tell ourselves, well, marriage is a failing, relationships are failing. Says who? The truth is, the marriage rate was never 50%. It wasn't.
Right.
That came from a study done after World War II that we totally misconstrued and ran with that, and now we misquote what it actually was saying. The truth of the matter is, for the last 30 years, marriage rates are going up, but no one talks about that. And then when we have these conversations, we sometimes bring information that I might can prove it, doesn't make it right. Because a chart says this, doesn't mean it to be accurate, right? But we bring stuff sometimes that we believe in that needs to be unlearned or put in the right context. Because if we communicate that and we teach from that, now the perspective becomes flawed by those who may not read, by those who don't research, by those who don't know. And they take the word of those that they respect, but that might be wrong. So it really takes for us to really, sometimes even not just examine what we're saying. A lot of great points are made all the time on a lot of different panels, but we never go into a specific great point and unpack that one before moving the goalposts when there's no understanding of that point.
Definitely. And I'm gonna say this too, and we never factor in, and I say this a lot, and Sydney knows I say this a lot. Dating at 21 and my courage at 21, I'm not that same dude at 55. See, I'm 55. You understand what I'm saying? So the people coming out, they don't know it was different. We the ones that are complaining about it being different. They walked into this situation. So, but we're not putting the variables in of depression, divorce, hurt, pain, death, not knowing, fear, like you say about the fear. That's why we so cosmetically made up, because we're afraid to show who we really are.
Yeah.
So it's so many factors, man. So that's all I'm saying. And I didn't mean to jump on anybody, but it's like we're not going back there because technology is just it evolved. And like you say, Reb, when you gain here, you're gonna lose here.
Yeah.
That's evolution, though.
We didn't evolve. Technology evolved.
Exactly. But it's forcing us to think. Some of us have to think. Some of us are refusing to. You know what's funny? My mother just got with her flip phone about 4 or 5 years ago, right? And she went to Verizon to argue with the people because her phone won't update. And the dude was like, "Ma'am, your phone isn't going to work.
Right.
You have to get, a regular phone." She didn't listen to me. She wanted to listen to my sister. She didn't listen to my son. It took the guy at Verizon. And I said, "Bruh, just work with me." Some of us have to do that by ourselves.
Right.
Because the biggest word, I think you said it too, Rev, expectations are what's hurting us, not technology. It's our expectations when we meet somebody, when we jump in that DM, when we do this, our expectation of who we are overrides that other person's right to say no.
Right. Yeah, you're right, K Short, and that just leads. Like I always tell people, when we expect us out of other people, we're only going to be met with disappointment. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Because that's exactly what we're doing. We're expecting what we would do out of you, and it don't happen that way.
It don't happen.
We just said this. We literally just said this.
Mm-hmm.
Do not go into anything with expectations because you are setting yourself up for disappointment.
Yep.
And the only responsibility that you have in that is not the other person's responsibility, it's yours.
Yep. Yeah, we also have to be vulnerable to change. And I think that's what we're not doing. We're not being vulnerable enough to change, you know. So in doing so, we have to start with ourselves. And we have to say, okay, I'm able to, or I want to change, right? So I want to be able to function well in this new society, in this new way of life. Like I have to be vulnerable with myself to say, okay, let me change my outlook. Let me change my thought process. Let me change my mindset. Let me even change my approach, right? And a lot of times people are not willing to be that vulnerable with themselves. So they clam up and they close up and they're just like, nope, this is it for me. Like if what I'm doing ain't working, then it just ain't working. That's why you get so many people out here that's like, well, maybe I'm just meant to be alone. You're not meant to be alone. You're just not being vulnerable enough with yourself to allow people to be vulnerable enough with you too.
Right.
So you over here lying to yourself, and you done told yourself a lie so long that it become your own truth. And then you want to spew that truth to somebody else. And at the same time, like you believe it. Like I believe this. This is what I know. But then it ain't the right thing to say because it's your lie. But you done lied to yourself long enough that when you look in the mirror and you finally tell yourself what you've been lying to yourself about, you like, I was real dumb. You know what? Let me go out here and change this narrative.
And you know what they call that? Sociopathic behavior.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's what they call it.
Yep.
And you can tell yourself a lie so long that you believe it, and you can tell it without blinking.
Yeah. I played for the 85 Falcons. I scored 6 touchdowns. And you know what I'm saying? Like, I was on the team. Like, I got pictures and everything. And they're like, what are the pictures at? I don't know. I got to find them. Like, when you tell yourself that lie for 10 years and somebody come to meet you and they be like, who you play? 85 Falcons. Well, and then you realize, like, I done lied. Like, let me fix this. I done lied. No, bro, I really didn't. I'm sorry. I've been telling this lie forever. It just worked for me. So, and that's what people do. A lot of times they just lie because it worked for them. You know, they don't, it ain't even the lie about them getting caught about it or being less than. They just lie because it worked for them because, again, a half truth is still a whole lie, one. And then when you continuously lie to yourself, your lie becomes your truth. It ain't everybody else's truth, but it is your truth because you believe it.
Yeah. And sociopaths and stuff, let's face it, we got some TikTok influencers that are now superstars because they believe the sociopaths and everything. And they gave their documentary here on TikTok, and now they on the front of Vogue and Harper's Bazaar. So come on, the lies work when you tell them to yourself so often that you can be flawless when you repeat it. I'm just saying.
Wisdom, somebody put a comment in there, and you probably didn't see it. They said, "Wisdom, where's the beanie at tonight?"
Yes, yeah. Yes, me in the rough, me and my natural, me and my confident enough to be my ability to just love myself and live myself doesn't require me to shape myself for other people. So
Right.
I am.
Actually, the next question is for No Stigma. What's the psychological impact of ghosting in individuals, and why has it become so common?
How much time we got? No, I'm joking.
Right.
This ain't a K Short live. No,
So the psychological impact of ghosting has been devastating.
Yeah.
I don't think that Gen X shows it as much as Gen Z does, and millennials, younger millennials, because they are very fragile in a way that Gen X would never show. But what I think has happened as a result of ghosting is that the psychological impact is a degree of rejection that is so deep, it makes people question their value, it makes people question their marketability, and it ultimately shuts people down from even wanting to try anymore. So you have people in the comments that say, and literally, um, uh, G. Devon just literally said this in the beginning, um, that there is no P in the dating pool. And while he was saying that, there were people putting the little poop emojis in there. Yes, it's not just P, it's all of this other stuff. Look, it's based upon your perspective,
Come
your
on, somebody.
right? And then it's also based upon your personal value of yourself. I always believe that you attract who you are. People can say low vibrations, energy, whatever you want to call it. I don't care what you want to call it. You attract who you are. If you are damaged goods, guess what? You are going to attract the poop, the pee, the litter. You're going to be the garbage silo. All you're going to get is that. If you are, and people say high value, and I think that's disgusting, because typically, and this is for the ladies in the comments,
Yeah.
I mean in the comments in the chat down there, if you have to walk into a room and you have to introduce yourself as a Proverbs woman, you're not. If you're a Proverbs 31 woman, guess what? People are going to know that about you.
We'll
You
know.
don't have to get the t-shirt, the flip-flops, the little shorty shorts and stuff and have it back on your backside. People are going to know who you are. So I just want to say that the psychological and emotional, the physical, the fiscal impact, you have people spending money on dating sites. You have people spending money for matchmaking coaches and all of this stuff. And I don't care how much money you spend. If you don't spend any time working on your internal self, it's not going to matter. Look, if you want to give your money away, my Cash App is, hold on, I just want to.
Right.
But I think that the damages are almost irreparable.
Yeah.
And the only way that we get around it is that we reimagine ourselves in a different way. We do the work. We spend time alone. Guess what? It's okay to be by yourself in silence, in the dark, processing the process, preventive mental health. That's me. I'm a Christian counselor, and I believe in the preventive side of mental health. I don't want us to get to mental illness. It's hard to get back from that. But if we're using our tools now, currently, then we don't find ourselves in crisis. So I want to be able to share that, but do the work. If you're not finding what it is that you're looking for, chances are that you need to do some work on yourself and you need to reimagine yourself and you need to reposition yourself. And that's going to take some time for you to go through that process. Thank you, Eileen.
As far as ghosting, I think that I'm watching, not necessarily ghosting, but I'm watching women's confidence drop, right? So a lot of women already didn't have good confidence. Like a lot of it is fake confidence, is what I call it. And it's fake confidence because we've educated ourselves. We have all this success in so many areas that we believe that we're confident. So what's happening is a lot of women in the dating at this big age are in the dating pool. And when they get rejected, it's like Keith said in the beginning, how could you reject me? I have a PhD. My home is over 4,000 square feet. Why would you not like me? Right? And so they don't understand that just because you have all these things doesn't mean somebody has to like you. Because what is beneath all of that thing? When we take off your graduation robe and your tassel, what is underneath that robe, right? And so a lot of people have not built up their character past their educational success. And I think that that's hurting. I'm going to say both men and women, but I feel like it's hurting women more. The ghosting thing is really sad. And I've listened to a lot of the men say, that they don't want to have a conversation with women when they're done, right? Because sometimes women can't handle it. And so depending on who you are as a man, depending on the conversation, she's like, well, wait a minute, maybe we can talk more. Like she'll try to do all of these things to get you to prolong your no, right? So I think for men, it's easier for them because they don't want to have to answer any questions. Just, I don't like you and I'm out, right? I think that women don't talk about ghosting because, I don't know, we're just not, how honest are we about ghosting somebody? There's somebody I want to ghost right now, and I'm going to keep it all the way real because I don't want to have the conversation of why I don't like you. So ghosting is something that really shatters people's confidence, I think. And I don't know how to even say fix it. Because I'm not going to tell men, yes, you have to say, I don't want to talk to you anymore. That would be the right thing to do. But I do understand, based off of how the conversation has gone with some women and even some men, that you kind of just want to say, if I don't respond, maybe you'll fade away.
I think we have to.
Look, I'm gonna say this real quick, like what Sydney was saying, right? And I think what it boils down to for me when I look at ghosting, right, is I call it intentional grounding, right? Because you might be a catch, you're just not my catch. I didn't fumble you. I didn't catch the ball. I was nowhere near the ball. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times people want you to be right there to catch that ball, like catch me. And people are like, no, I'm good. It's an incomplete pass. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people are not okay with that because, like you said, like people are asking the question, like, why wouldn't you want to pick me? And the reason why is because we have this mentality, like I'm the catch, right? Like I'm the catch. But you're right. That you belong in somebody else's hands, not mine. You know, and we have to get past that part. Like you don't belong in my hands. Like so, if that's the case, and like what you were saying too, Sid, like when men are done, we're done. Like we understand that this is just not going to work for us. You know, and a lot of times with women that I've seen, like the ghosting for them is very slow. It's a slow pull away. You know what I'm saying? It's a phantom pull away. It's like they hear and then it's just they gradually become a shadow. Then they just miss the smoke and they gone. You know what I'm saying? Like they out. And then you be like, what the heck happened? You know, but with us, with men, we're very intentional when we do that. Like I don't even think we ghost. We just be like, we done. And that's it. And then you're right. Nobody respects anybody's no nowadays. You know what I'm saying? That's really what it boils down to. Like, my no is my no, and that's it. Like, there's no reason for me to explain why it's a no. And a lot of people want that explanation because even though you were not in the situation with that person, why do you still feel like you need closure when we had nothing that was open in the first place?
It's hard, though.
Ghosting is definite. Ghosting is a definite, to explain why I ghost you is a definite end of this. Whatever thing we got. If I ghost you, my door's still open. Because a lot of people let men come back after ghosting.
Right.
So a lot of them not going to explain to you because most of us don't want to close the door. Because we just want, guys, y'all know we just want access. But here's the deal, Cindy, you said it. But if a woman goes to a man, it's normal.
I don't think it's normal. I think it's disrespectful.
No
matter who does it, I think it's disrespectful. But I think it's that kind of just like Ken said. There's not enough invested in it. Why do you feel bad about? Yeah, it's a will.
Why you need closure when there wasn't even no door open? You don't need no closure. Like, why you asking me? Like, why do you?
Well,
I know it's my no.
This is what I want to say about that. This is what I want to share. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brother Paul. I'm sorry. You trying to jump in?
Well, I just want to say greetings to everybody. I joined late. I'm in the other part of the world that I was checking my time. It's like afternoon here. So greetings to everybody. So for me, for ghosting, personally, I think it's a good thing because I don't waste time. For me, it's just like this less time. Because it's for me, it's bad that we probably have been speaking to somebody for like 3 months, 4 months, and then I'm thinking that we have something going on, and then she starts pulling back. Because I've experienced it before where ladies are actually more smoother with it than guys. Because the way
it's a phantom, they drift away, right, Paul? They drift.
We don't
And they
complain
go
though.
stuff like
We
this,
don't
like they
complain
start
out
like this and they drift.
You know, a man will just do this, but the ladies, man, woo, you thinking you have something going on. But man, it's taking, they're going really slow with it. So for me, the sooner it is, the better it is for me. But on the flip side, if I'm not interested in a lady, I just tell you very respectfully that, look, I don't want to waste your time. This A, B, C, and D. I didn't used to be like that. I had to learn over the years that, man, I just have to say I can. But for me, it's a good thing. If you don't, it's just cutting the waste of time. A lot of people want explanation. For me, why? That person didn't find you valuable. They didn't see that you're an asset. You're fit for them. They're lost. You move to the next person. You don't need anybody to explain anything to you or tell you why. I feel like if you want to know why you're trying to feed your own ego or something, just somebody says that it's okay. Hey, man, I'm out of there. The next person will come. They'll appreciate you, respect you, value you, and like you for who you are. You just keep going. For me, it's the time that is saved. When you just see that happen, I didn't waste much time. I didn't invest my emotions in it. I keep going. That's just for me. I think it's a good thing. Thank you.
I got a quick question, and I think this can help the discussion and the people that are listening right now. We got 113 people, right? I'm looking at the dictionary or the definition of ghosting, and something that I'm trying to understand is ghosting permanent? Because in the definition, it doesn't
Sounds
explain if it's a definite forever or could it be a temporary?
It's up to you what it is.
No, what I'm asking.
It could be temporary, but you're not coming back.
Right.
To you.
Yes.
Right.
Hold up.
Others will.
What if a hiatus was mentioned and it was taken as ghosting? In other words, I'm a type of person that when I need to disappear from the world, I'm going to do me with warning. If you didn't listen to the warning, you can't call it ghosting, can you?
You know what I want to say about that? I want to say ghosting is the reflection of a person's ability to believe in their options. Because for you to step away, you obviously have something more valuable for your time to be doing when they pull away. It's like, I don't think people have the ability to take the responsibility of putting themselves in the situations that happen where they can't receive rejection as protection, where they can't see that something is not meant for them, is because, again, the expectations that come with their ability to choose. And in that, they can't see that the speed in which they invest may have not been required. And so when they can't get the return on the investment when someone pulls away or goes away, I think a lot of people are not seeing, because even the terminology, like K Short said, the advancement of words, when before there was no such word 10 years ago, you just stop talking to a person. They just don't want to talk to you. So now that we have a terminology and we're trying to define this, as you said, it's in the dictionary. It's not someone that controls the narrative of their own life story. They're given the square peg in the round hole. Now figure it out and fix it and fit it into that and make it a part of the living situation where I don't even think I think it just strips a person's responsibility to say, they did this, not I put myself in a situation for this to be done to me. And what did I not identify? So I think it takes the responsibility from people and puts it on another person to say, I wonder what that was and why they didn't validate or value in my time. Why don't they value their time and say, this wasn't for me? So we're looking at it, to me, from not a blame or a victim, but I think the misidentification of the responsibility of the situation.
So, like somebody said in the comments, and I just want to, I want to address that real quick because it said ghosting has no closure, so one is left with hope. But who is the hope for? Because if I'm done, I'm done. You might be hopeful, but I'm not. Like, I've already seen what I needed to see, and I'm gone. Like, and that's the point. Like, when we talk about closure, like if you ghosting somebody, you don't need no closure. You don't need it. Like, you might want it, but you don't need it because everybody wants an explanation why. Like, that's the thing that kills us the most is why. Like, was I not good enough? Was I this? So, like, you are, in essence, when you are asking these questions and you desire that closure, you are absolutely devaluing yourself in those moments. That's what you're doing. You're devaluing yourself in that moment because you're like, I'm not good enough, or this person didn't think I was good enough. And that's not really the case. That you just didn't fit for that person, and we have to get past that. Again, my no is my no, and you have to respect that. And if you don't respect that, that's your problem, not mine. That's a you problem, not a me problem.
Yeah.
I think sometimes it's not a matter of a person not respecting. Sometimes people need information because a lot of assumptions can be made if a person exits your life. Number one, like sometimes women will say, did something happen? Or did I do something? But we left them to make that question as a man.
Yeah.
So if you don't fill in the blank for some people, it's not a matter of them saying, I don't respect your no. They know you said no.
But they do. They know. Come on, we got to call it
Let me
straight.
finish.
They know it because we didn't already told them no, and they try, like what Sydney said. They trying to prolong the no. That's what that happened. They trying to prolong the no. They trying to be like, well,
but I'm not speaking of that type of situation. There are situations that people just stop talking to people, and there's no explanation. Let's keep it all the way 100 now.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
Nothing fits a one situation. There are lots of times, and it can be even woman to man as well, where we're just not being courteous. If I don't like you anymore, I should just tell you that.
Say that.
Now, then, if you can't accept that,
that's different.
Now that's
different. Yeah.
But if I cannot communicate that to you, then I'm in the wrong, no matter how we spend this thing. And a lot of times, we make a lot of excuses for not communicating. Or we say, well, I'll tell you what I want you to know, right? I do have to respect what you're saying, but you got to say it to me first and give me a chance to respect it and not just exit. Like we find a lot of people that are falling in love with people that won't catch you when you fall. Yeah. But now what happened within that communication? How long has it been? If it's been a whole 2 months and you just stop talking to somebody, that happens a lot. I owe you the fact to tell you, you know what, ABC would be best for me. I'm gonna have to end this. And to not just leave you to your own devices. Like human nature has to kick in and say, we're all not in the same place here. Like Stigma made a point earlier about all of us, I think she said, suffering from type of anxiety. Yeah, she's right. And because we don't know what we're dealing with, we need to be careful how we handle each other. There's a certain level of mutual grace that we ought to give each other. And if we cannot do that, I shouldn't talk to nobody. Really. If I can't give you that kind of respect as a human being, that I will communicate if something should change. What we're really telling people is that inside of a relationship, I'll ghost you then too. Because bad habits are hard to break. And we want to think that, no, I'm committed now. No, but bad habits are hard to break. And there are a lot of people who are dating and in relationships who should not be dating or in a relationship because you're not the person that you need to be yet. And it's because a lot of times, see, I have a psychological background. My thing is, elevation does require separation. I got to figure out what environment I should not be in, what habits I need to break, right? What about me needs to change before I invite someone else into my life. And a lot of us have not done that. And we cannot handle right now the lot of dating. And we're in this world and we want to say it's pee in the pool. No, it's some people with bad character in the pool. And they are messing up people's lives by being irresponsible with how we handle one another. That's what it is.
I got a question for you, sir. I got to give just a little pushback on just a little bit, but I agree with everything I'm saying. But what about the people that deal with the dudes that they know he got low character already?
Again, that's another context. That's different.
Yeah. Right. Right. So when we have these conversations, what you're saying, and me and Sidney argue about this all the time, you on a level of understanding that a lot of brothers not.
But that's why I define the context.
Yes.
If somebody told you, that's why I started with that.
Yeah. No, like you're right. But a lot of us deal in situations, and I think Penn said it too. I think we should put a time limit on it. If I just met you and I don't talk to you no more, I ain't ghost you. I just didn't know you. And this is the biggest part about ghosting, because I've missed talking to people for weeks because I was busy. And not that they weren't important, but what I was doing was important. And sometimes you don't fit people's lives. Just Paul said he's out of the country. He's doing different things.
Yeah.
If you work a normal 9 to 5, you can set your schedule.
Yeah.
If you got 2 or 3 different jobs and things going on, you're going to miss a couple of days. And not that I didn't think about you. I'm sorry. And you know what I mean? So when I meet people, because I'm bad at this, I tell them, I'm bad at communicating at first because I have to fit you in my schedule because my schedule is hectic already.
But you
So
said
if you
that.
can't deal with that,
Yeah.
I'm not for you.
No, but you said at first you
At
gave
first, yeah,
some
I
type
came out
of
with it.
you gave a person something to go off of. And I still believe that no matter what, I don't care how busy a man is or where he is out of the country, to that one that he really digging, he gonna send a text, he's gonna say something. He's
Yeah,
not
to
just
the
gonna
one.
go out of the country and be like, I just was so busy. But this is what people are
To
doing.
the one, though, you said it. Hold on. Please say that again.
At one.
To the
For
one.
the one that he likes. I'm
Say that
not
one
gonna
more
say
time.
the one. I'm
Say
not
it
gonna
again,
say the
though.
one. I'm not gonna say the one he's gonna marry. I'm gonna say to the one he likes. To the
Not
one
the one I
who-
met.
Yeah. Right.
The
To
one he's
one-
interested in. If he
You know,
interest, that's
wait a minute.
interest.
Let me say this because I get caught up in this. If I pursue you, I have the obligation Devon talked about. If I pursue you and I created this movement, I have the obligation that if I stop or bail out, I should let you know, hey, boo, this was going on.
Yeah.
If we just met, I owe you jack. That's just the truth, people, because that's the world we live in. We sit around and hoping expectations are killing us.
I just think it's mean. I think it's mean. I think ghosting
I'm not
is
saying
mean and
it's not right.
disrespectful.
It could be considered mean, but people have lives.
They do, but you could easily just send a text and be like, "This isn't working for me."
So you know
Because what's going to happen is what you're saying is true. But I feel like there are levels to ghosting, right? If you just met somebody, you've only talked to them for 2 days and you kind of fall off, that's different. But that's not what people are talking about when they're really talking about ghosting for real. People are sleeping with people and never calling them
Never
back.
going back. We
People
got,
are
to,
having
we got to be careful with our parts.
Right, and
Yeah,
that's the
people-
biggest. That's the
people
biggest
are
thing.
having serious things that to a woman or even to a man could feel like this is leading to something. We're talking every day, we're texting every day, we're talking about each other's kids, and all of a sudden,
Boom, you
this
gone.
person just boom, they're gone.
Yeah,
And
that's
maybe it was because they swiped right and found somebody else. Maybe it was, but whatever it is, it's rude to not say to somebody that you've been in communication with that I'm done.
right. So I think the biggest issue with that too, and the biggest blowback on that, and the reason why people feel that way. I'm gonna say this, and then I want to hear what Stigma has to say too. But like, I think really what it boils down to is people feel neglected and people feel cast aside and cut off at the knees because they're not given their option. You know what I'm saying? You're not giving a person their option. Now, granted, that's what I'm saying. So from my standpoint, if I don't know you like that, if we haven't really engaged like that and I cut you off, I just cut you off. Respect my no. That's just what it is. But yeah, if we are out here doing other things and we are out here in the progression of moving forward and then that just stops, yeah, then that's totally wrong because you didn't give a person their option.
Exactly.
So I don't, but I don't even think in that point that person needs closure. I think that person just really needs to understand that, hey, look, okay, 2 things happened. One, you really showed your true colors to me. You know what I'm saying? And I can't go back to that because a lot of times when people go, they like we were talking about how people still have the option to come back. A lot of people be spinning the block because they leave that window open and they close that door, right? But at the same time, like you have to realize at that point it's something in you. You know what I'm saying? It's something in you that you gotta fix or atone to and say, I can't do this. You know what I'm saying? You can't give that person an option. You gotta close all windows and all doors. But yeah, it is sad when you do stuff like that, when you have a longevity with somebody and then ghost them, because you're right, you're not giving them their options at all. And taking people's options away makes them feel a certain type of way, mentally, physically, and even emotionally.
I like that, Pen.
Host. They're not letting me play.
Come on.
No, so it's irresponsible, immature, and it's just rude. Okay, and the reason why I say that is because I feel like when somebody ghosts a person, it tells a lot about their character or lack thereof.
Mm.
And let me say this, because we're talking about the fallout of ghosting. During the last 4 to 5 years, the way that recruiters are able to identify candidates to fill positions in their company has become very difficult. We have people who have gone through the entire process. That means screening, that means a face-to-face interview, it might be a panel interview, to all the way to the offer letter. The day that the candidate is supposed to report to work for orientation, they do not show up. They no show, they don't call, they don't email, they don't text. And now we have a company that has invested all types of dollars because they had to pay money to post that requisition, go through the time to pay, people management to set up all of these meetings, and then the person doesn't show. Then what happens is whatever the other offer falls through, it didn't work out, and now they want to come back as if nothing ever happened, and they expect that opportunity to still be open. Why would I, as a human resource recruiter, want to extend that offer again? That offer has been rescinded because it tells me about your character. It tells me that you don't value the company, you don't take the opportunity seriously, and you're probably going to, when another better opportunity comes along, you're going to take the position, and you're going to put me in a position where I have to spend money all over again. There's nothing different about interpersonal relationships. When somebody ghosts, I know that they're not for me anyway. Right? Literally, I'm a feedback person. And this is something that I want to encourage everybody to do, because I feel like people don't know their blind spot unless somebody tells them what it is. So I'm a person that if you show up in a way that I think is going to be harmful to your journey and meeting your right one, I want to gently and gingerly give you the feedback. And so for the men, let me just say this. Y'all don't read profiles. Y'all looking for that super glamour shots photo of the woman that's doctored up and everything, whether or not her body is boom, bomb, bang, whatever, right? She has a cute face, a small waist, right? I'm saying that men don't think like that when it comes to their own profile picture. I want you as men to have somebody who loves you but doesn't want to sleep with you pick your photo for you, because y'all been taking some of them old school 1990s NWA Ice Cube photos, and then you wonder why you attracting the chick in the orange jumpsuit with the serial numbers on the back that wants to write you or wants you to write her while she's in the pen. I'm just saying. So I'm saying to you that literally ghosting just shows the content of your character. And if that has been your particular momentum and how you show up, let me just say this. How you end a thing is how you're going to continue to show up in everything. So when you end a thing like that, expect that that's going to come back to you. And that's why you're still single, because that's the way you've been showing up. I land.
I'm so glad you landed, because that ain't why some are single.
Right.
Okay, we're gonna go to K Short next. How do online personas differ from real life personalities, and how does this affect dating outcomes?
I took a page out of my man. My man gives a book. I always look up words when I get stuff from him. Persona is the aspect of someone's character that is presented to or perceived by others. Perceived by others. See, we take words and we take images, just like she said, we're going to take the images, right? And we come up with our own perception. And some of them are unfounded. Some of them ain't even fair that we put on people. And some of us are putting out false personas. And some of us are just who we are. You understand? So we lean on our own understanding. So it affects it in so many ways, G, because you got to take the person, the situation, your understanding of the situation, what the person actually said. It's so many layers to this thing when we come to online. We lazy daters. Let's just get that out the way. We don't, first of all, we don't even know what dating is. We haven't even defined what dating is. So when you ask me how does it affect dating, it depends on a person's perception of what dating is first. So a young lady said that she's afraid to date now because you're dating with expectations. Just date to have fun. My idea of dating is we going out to have fun to get to know each other. There's no expectations behind it. And as we grow, expectations will grow. But when I take you out, it's just to see if I like you. But I'm at a point where I don't think physically all the time. You know what I mean? So the online thing is based on how the person perceives it. I don't think there's no one answer to that question because if you're dating desperate, your perception of somebody's going to be physical, upfront, what they see at that moment. Mr. is a minister, but doggone it, I want that minister. You understand what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, Sydney got that, she got that red lipstick on. All I see is her red lipstick. So the perception that they create on Sydney, she has to live up to anything that they create. So when you talk to Sydney, and she's like, yo, who are you? Let's talk first. No, you can't come pick me up. No, you can't come to my house. No, you can't fly me out to Texas. Then they like, but I thought if I went to her like this, you understand what I'm saying? Because no disrespect, a lot of people get it in their DM because people perceive off a video or what they see, and then they take it and run with it. So I think the whole thing, G, is based on the individual and the individual state of mind at the time that they see and perceive what they're at. But there's no one answer to that because it's a lot of hidden agendas. I think G. Devon said it and Sydney said it. Intention is the intent. Some people intent just to get it going on. Some people, everybody's not out here trying to mate. I mean, trying to be together. Some people trying to mate. So it depends on the level of understanding and the level of. I mean, I'm sorry, it's the truth, G. I mean,
yeah, GTD. I mean,
you know what I'm saying? And I'm glad I got that response from y'all because we have so many of us over 50. Our persona is I don't do that.
Yeah,
that is so uncouth. How dare you? This is the silliest thing I hear people say. Who does that? When you watching somebody do it. Who does that? What do you mean who do it? We just watching people do it. Cut it out. But G, that's that fear thing you talked about, though. Because we're afraid to show our real self.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're afraid to be innocent. If you're not honest with yourself, your perception will only depend on how you feel at that moment. I'm sorry, that's just the way I see it.
I've heard you say before that when people meet you, they expect you to be like you are on here. They see this person, K Short, and in person, they think you're going to be the same person. So that's actually why I asked you the question because of a comment, comments that you made in the past about that. Like they expect the person that they see in these boxes to be exactly the same when they meet the person in person.
I'm Sherman Clump. So K Short is what's his name? Buddy Love. K Short is the alter ego that I had that I used to be. So he's part of me. He's part of that facet that I used to be, and I still like it. But he Buddy Love, you know what I mean? He jump out and he rah. But Sydney, I asked to talk to her for 2 hours. I don't even go out on party. I'm at home 80% of the time. I'm free. I don't date. You know what I mean? But if you let somebody tell her, oh, he out here sleeping with everybody on TikTok.
Everybody.
And I love that narrative because it gets me popular.
But look, prime example. I'll give you an example. I met K Short and I met Sid, right? I met K Short and I met Sid, and they will tell you that the same person that you see here is the same person I am.
Same person.
I am no different. Now, Joe was afraid of me. She was like, I don't know if I want you on my panel. Like, look, we're gonna keep it for bucks. She's like, I don't know, because you be doing some strange things. But these people that know me, that actually have been in my presence, they know that I'm just all around just a good guy. I love having conversations. I love laughing. I love a lot of different things because what I do is not indicative of who I am as a person. My moral character and the person that I really am is so much different than what you see online. I am that, but again, when you meet me, you meet all of me. You know what I'm saying? You get the best and the worst of me and everything in between. I'm not giving you a facade. So like when I met Sydney, like she was so outgoing and so lovely and just smiles and laughing and she dressed her butt off, you know what I'm saying? She wear them outfits, you know what I'm saying? Her toes is pretty, you know, all that good stuff, you know. And then when I met K Short, he just walk around real slow, but he real confident, you know what I'm saying? He is larger than life in real life. But again, when I met them, they were exactly who they are. Like Sydney has much poise and grace. And I believe in giving people their flowers. You know what I'm saying? She really has a lot of poise and grace. And Kay Short, he really does have a lot of information and he's very knowledgeable, but he's also funny as all get out. Like he's the funniest dude. Like he tried to be funny. He's not always funny, but he tried to be funny. but I genuinely love and respect these people because I have met these people. And again, I've shared some great memories. So like when Go was like, I'm kind of nervous with you coming up there. I was like, don't be. I'm like, I'm the same person. Don't worry. No red lights. No none of that stuff.
I was going to say, if the lights behind him are white, you're safe.
Yeah, like that's the thing. But I have never perceived myself to be anything other than who I am on or off the app. And I can say that about you too as well. And I definitely appreciate it, man.
Hey, let me say real quick.
Like it's a pleasure of meeting all of you people. I can see that, and we all can see that together as well. So, yeah.
I love Cassandra Hall's question that she posed to me just now. She says, "So do you got multiple personalities?" I think we all do.
Everybody.
We all should have. I think each situation is called for a different type of person. When I deal with my grandkids, I don't deal with my grandkids like I talk to grown men. You know, I got an 8-year-old granddaughter, so I'm pop. Pop is nurturing. You know, I teach 13-year-olds. I'm their granddad. You know, I run my business. I got to be the boss. So, and what I mean by that, people want K Short all the time. I'm not funny all the time. Sometimes I'm serious. Sometimes we got to get the work done. Now, after we get the work done, yeah, we can laugh and talk all we want. You know what I mean? Because then that military come out. You know, I did 20 years in the Army, so I'm very stern in how I move. So what I'm saying is that, and this goes to the question that you asked, when we meet people online, it's more to them than what you see at the eye. G. Devon is a minister, but he's a man first.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
In a discussion, No Stigma is a counselor, but she a woman too, and a mother and a grandmother. So I just don't feel like people, we lazy daters. We don't take our time to get to know the levels of people. We take what we see and that's what we want. And as long as that person stay in that zone and realm, you good. But when they cry, you know, that's why men don't show emotions, because people expect them to be a certain way sometimes. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm not tough all the time. You know, sometimes and y'all, I talk about Sydney because me and Sydney talk a lot. Sid, talk to me, baby. You know, or like, I'm sorry. One night, Sydney called me, she was feeling bad, man. You know what I mean? And we both sitting there about to cry, you know, on the phone. You know? But if she would come out and tell somebody K Short cry with me, they like, K Short? No. You understand what I'm saying? So everybody got that. Everybody got that side of them. Oh, at least I think they should. What do you think about that, Aminga?
I don't think that it's multiple personalities. Otherwise, it's like dating in a poly situation. I think it's stability.
Yeah.
I mean, if you wanted to be in a poly relationship nowadays with social media, you can get multiple personalities from one person and you don't have to date outside of them because most people have an alter ego.
No.
I'm just saying.
I like how you talk, my brother.
Okay,
a lot of people call it code switching, and it's not code switching. We're all multi-layered. You're not going to show up the way that you would, like K Short just said, with your grandchildren, the way that you would with some adult person. You know, you're going to show a degree of compassion, which also calls for the situation. right? So I think that that's very important. But I wanted to just address something that was in the chat that I think is very important for us to define. And I mean, when I say define it, everybody has a different viewpoint on it. But we're talking about dating, and the question was, what is dating?
Oh, that's the idea of dating multiple people with the idea of finding the best suitor for you. You know what I'm saying? When you date people, date the experience. So, like, date the experience of getting to know that person and actually filling that person out to find out if that person is for you. If that person's not for you, on to the next. Like, that's the pivotal standpoint. Dating is just one stepping stone to the actual the steps of a relationship, right? Or even marriage. So dating is just that stepping stone. And a lot of people exclusively want to date, but then that's not really dating. If you're exclusive, you're really in the courting phase. That's really what you need to be. Like, there's levels to it. Dating is the idea of dating multiple people to find the best suitor for you. Then you move from that to a courting phase when you find that suitor. And once you find that suitor that you want to court, you court that person. And then ultimately you should be going into marriage.
Can I want to give no stigma and alley-oop right here. So you were talking about the HR example, right? And then yes, Paul, I saw your hand up. I'm sorry. You used the HR example, right? So would dating be the equivalent of a resume? Would it be the equivalent of looking for a job? You're in the process of obtaining a job. So when you go to the interview, you are trying to see if you can see something different from that piece of paper, that overinflated ego that you wrote down that's never accurate. You know how you always promote yourself to be bigger than what you are. But then in the date, is the dating equivalent to the interview stage?
Well, Mike, I'm gonna say something to you, and I want you to run with this. Make sure you write this down because I say it all the time. People out here give jobs to people that didn't even qualify for an interview. So that's the problem. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's what dating is supposed to be. Dating is even before the interview. You know what I'm saying? Dating is you running down Indeed. You know what I'm saying? You just looking at their profile to figure out if they have even some qualifications that you might even intend to give them an interview.
Interesting.
So when you are literally dating, that's what you're doing. You're dating with the expectation of getting to know someone to figure out if they're going to get the job that you're planning on giving them.
Okay, we're like past our 9:45 time, so I need one person at least to drop down because
I got it.
here for quite some time.
I'm a drop, but I thank you guys for having me.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
You'll be back. You'll be back.
I'm on the stand just to speak to Keith. I ain't talked to my brother in a long time.
Okay, cool. Let me get him up here. Let me find him on here.
There you go, so I can get ready.
I got to go to work, Sydney. I'm not coming on your thing today.
I could drop two. I could drop two if need be. I just wanted to answer.
No, you're fine. You're fine right now. We only have one more person that needs to come up that I'm aware of.
Okay. Hey, brother Keith, I just want to say.
We are together.
We got both of them together. What's up, man?
Keith.
Oh, they have the same one.
Y'all. Hey. Hi.
Hey, I just want to say hello. Hey, man, I miss you on Wednesday, bro.
Man, and you know what? I scrolled past it, but I was busy. I had a few clients.
Yeah, I know. I understand.
Couldn't jump in, But I appreciate you, man. Hopefully this Wednesday I'll jump in there.
Hey, I know you will. Anytime, man. Hey, everybody, it was my pleasure.
Thank you.
Hey, Paul, let's talk soon, man. Good to see you.
G and Hormiga, you can stay if you want to. It's up to you. If you have something you need to do, because one person that was supposed to be here is not here. So if you need to stay longer, you can. If you're able to stay longer, you can. But if you need to go, Hormiga and G.
I'm good. I just need to answer the question. You know what I'm saying? And
okay.
Yeah, I'll be good to go.
Okay. All right. We were actually getting ready to do a scenario, and I'm going to go ahead and do that anyway, even though we might be a little bit behind, but that's cool. This is go ahead. So the scenario is called situationship spiral. You've been talking to someone on Instagram for months. You text daily, FaceTime occasionally, and have met up a few times. However, when you ask where things are going, they avoid labeling the relationship, saying, let's just enjoy the moment. So we're going to start off since Keith and Mika just came in. One of you guys can take this part. what are the risks of staying in a situationship too long?
Okay.
Do we get?
Good. Beautiful people first.
I would say the risk is becoming, I would say self-esteem, lowering your self-esteem. I would say it also makes you not really set standards for yourself in dating, like understand what it is that you want in a dating versus settling just for someone because you stayed in that situation, causing more hardship for yourself because now you are taking on problems from someone that you don't even have that connection with, and that you're just settling to be in a relationship or a situationship with someone that you don't even have any kind of chemistry, connection, or anything. And then I also think you're risking the chance of meeting your actually authentic person. Like you're risking the chance of meeting the person that you really want to be with. And then if you have kids by this person, now you're risking having children and being connected to that person for life. It's just a lot of things that you're risking to of yourself staying in that relationship. And I think you should question yourself, why do you stay in a situationship? Is it loneliness? Are you trying to fulfill something just because that person is a body, a warm body? So I think it's a lot of risk that you're taking when you are staying with that person. You're causing more confusion to yourself, because now you are confusing situations with actual relationship. Is this really a relationship? Are you lonely? Are you desperate? What is it that you're seeking out of this situationship? You know? So
Thank you.
So to piggyback off of that, I just think that like oftentimes, well, not oftentimes, a lot of times, we don't have those discussions in relationships, right? In the beginning of the relationship, we don't have those discussions to say, what's your expectation? What are you looking for? Where are we going, right? And then having those periodic checkups in defining what the relationship is. I think we just can't continue to go on as usual without having those conversations of, where do we stand? Where are we? Am I still your person? Are you still my person? We have to have that communication. Too often in relationships, we hold on to relationships knowing that there's no future, knowing that this is just a situation. A lot of times, women can be in a relationship for the long haul, and men are looking for a situationship, right? And if that's not communicated, then it false expectations on the relationship. So I just think that we don't communicate effectively or long enough. We might communicate in the beginning, but it doesn't continue. And I think it has to be continual in order for the relationship to not be a time waster.
Paul, at what point should someone walk away from an undefined online relationship?
As soon as possible.
all right.
Paul, right now, leave.
An undefined online relationship.
If you're questioning it, if it's a question in your mind, then you need to go.
Man, as soon as possible, man. You don't need to, because for me, time is very valuable. If you keep on spending time, things will happen, things that you probably end up regretting, feeling disappointment is building up, unmet expectation hurts. So as soon as possible, if you pose a question and this person is saying, let's just enjoy the moment, man, enjoy the moment outside, just walk out of it, because at our age and where we are in the world, and we're talking about social media, how everything is so fast, man, you just gotta move ahead. For me personally, if we don't talk about it, we define it, we know where we're heading to. For me, I just can't waste that time, because time is precious. It's very valuable to me. So the sooner I get out of it, the better it is for me. So I just believe as soon as possible, just move, just walk out of it as soon as possible.
I've been told that. I've been told that in my life. Let's enjoy the moment. And the way that I took that as is, let's disregard all the important stuff and let's just keep it fluffy. You understand what I'm saying? Let's be in a cloud together of denial to what is actually happening right now. So I don't want to hear anything that's logical right now. I don't want to hear anything that makes sense. I just want to enjoy the moment, and I won't be able to enjoy the moment if you're going to tell me the truth.
I think more than one thing can be true.
Absolutely.
I could enjoy this moment but still know where I'm going. You know, and a situation is a set of circumstances. Ships go somewhere. So you're in a circumstance going nowhere. Who wants to do that? I mean, we have to be real with ourselves and stop compromising our conviction. You know, all of us, we know what we want in somebody, but the question is, what do you want from somebody? That involves how they show up for you. That's where we compromise. We give folk passes for not showing up for us. How they need to show up for me. And then we go sometimes months and even years in an undefined situation because we do not want to be by ourselves. And the question is why? We don't want to be by ourselves sometimes because to be by myself, I have to deal with myself. And a lot of us know that there are parts of us that we hide in other people. And we need other people to feel good about who we are. And that's not healthy, but that's true for a lot of people, is that we end up having these codependent relationships because I need you to validate who I am. That's not good, no. But that speaks to a lot of people's circumstance. They don't actually rationally want to be in this, but something about who they are at this season of life makes them believe, I need your presence or someone's presence to make me feel good about who I am. Like a lot of times, I said it on the line before, we found an addiction to a person being in our life because them being in our life causes our oxytocin, dopamine to go up and to spike because we do not want to be alone. So now I need you biologically in my life. Now I can't explain it that way if it's me, but in retrospect, you might learn that, right? That you needed this person to feel a certain way. That's why you go from person to person to person and you date a different soul in a different shell. Because you, again, a lot of times when we do break up, we latch on very fast to somebody else. Because I need somebody there. It's a similar person oftentimes because of why? I don't know how to make my own self happy. I don't have any joy in my life. Nothing to hold on to that makes me understand that I am enough because I'm fearfully made by God. I am enough. But again, we have not defined ourselves for ourselves. So we allow situation or people to define who we are. So if you're not here, I'm an unknown to myself. And I'm a stranger in my house. That's what to me it was saying in that song. It says, I'm a stranger. It's a stranger in my house. It took a while to figure out. Yeah, because you went on pursuing love and you thought that person was strange to you. No, you became strange to yourself because you came in this way. They changed you. Now you need to be out, but you have lost yourself trying to find love. So now in this situation, you have become the circumstance because now you have all of these problems now that you don't know how to get out of. You can't define them. You feel away, right? And now you're the circumstance. And now this person has made you feel worse about who you are. So now you think that they are all that. That's the greatest thing that they're not. They're making you feel a way about yourself, and they're holding you hostage to how you feel, and they are manipulating you because they know it was always a situation for me, but it was a relationship for you.
Interesting. What you just described was an attachment, and hopefully people are looking for connections where we mutually benefit from the relationship. We both bring value as individuals, but that attachment thing that you're talking about, that's something very serious. When you have to go somewhere to find something that you should already have and walk proudly with, we got a problem, Houston. When you have to, you should be able to have that and take it wherever you go, and by no circumstances allow anyone to violate your peace, step on your boundaries, and not listen to how, especially if you explain to someone how they're supposed to show up for you, and they just keep saying, yeah, I hear you, but you don't see a change in behavior, you don't see them gravitating to you, then it's time to circumvent. It's time to do something different. And sometimes the ghosting happens because you keep telling people over and over, listen, I'm not playing with you, right? And it gets to a point where you get so upset, you don't want to talk to them anymore. I've done explained it to you 1,000 times. What else do I need to tell you? You're not showing up. You know, and a perfect example is this. When I was in the dating world, my profile said very clearly, I'm looking for a queen. I already have a princess and a prince. And I'm also looking for my co-pilot. That's clear and to the point. And if you don't understand that and you come to me and you act like you're that person and you're really not, you might get ghosted.
I wanted to add this because I think that we're missing a huge component of the impact of a situationship. So when you are on a cycle of being pulled close and being pushed away, the impact of constant abandonment, neglect, rejection has an impact on your physical body. And typically that shows up in your abdominal region. It could be ulcers, irritable bowel syndrome. It could be your inability to, keep things down. Colon cancer has come into play. And it is something that begins to work on your body so that you are beginning to break down physically. There is an act of manipulation. It is a form of, and I don't know if I can say it here, but witchcraft that is designed to tear you down. It's a Jezebelic type spirit. And that spirit comes into your life to stifle any growth, any light in your life, any of your spiritual gifts comes into play. That is what that spirit is designed to do. Choke the prophetic gift and to destroy any ministry that is in you, to put out any light that is in you. And so it's important that you understand that this is exactly what this spirit is designed to do, and that spirit is operating in a host, which is a person. If you cannot determine that you have far more value than being pulled close and pushed away, rejected over and over and over again, to the point that you don't even feel like you're worthy of someone to love you, to commit to you, then you need to do the work. It is necessary that you start to do the work on yourself. If you're in that, you need to break that off immediately. This is not ghosting. This is your cleansing your table. You are putting a stop to it. You are taking the information out of your phone, but blocking the person first. You are shutting off and disconnecting from any type of social media content. It is important that you make a clean and a clean break. This is not going anywhere. I've known people who have been in that situation for 10, 15 years, and the other person wakes up one day and they marry somebody else like it was nothing. And 10 or 15 valuable years of the other person's life have been stolen. So you need to make the decision now for you. That's all that I need to share with you. Like, just make your decision for you and rescue yourself. Put your own life jacket on so that you can get out of it.
I'm with you 100%. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Can I also go back on the situationship? A lot of times, to me, situationships end up being that because you have one party who's looking to say, I'm looking for this relationship. I'm looking to be into something serious. I want something, authentic. And the other person is just giving that person what they want, pretending to give that person what they want. When in our reality, they're not looking for that. They're looking for companionship. They're looking for sex. Can we say sex? Yeah. Okay. Max. Okay. They look for smack ships, you know. So when you are dating, I think that the most honorable for adult thing for adults to do is to be genuine about who you want. You may want somebody else who just want a smack ship. But what happened is you're attracted to this person who want a real relationship, who wants something serious and authentic, and you're playing games so that other person who is looking for something more serious end up being in a situationship because of the fact that that person was not genuine about what they want. I think you have to do prevention and recognize when someone is really being truly authentic by testing them, by not giving everything to you. I think a lot of times people go into the relationships who are looking for something serious, giving everything, because this person, they're like, oh, they've been lonely for so long. They finally think I found my person. And then you give them everything up front. Be careful. Date them, court them, ask questions. Trust me that true authentic them are going to come out when you're not giving them every bit of you. When you give a person every bit of you, they're going to take every bit of you because that's what they want. They want that part without the commitment. So I think it's a prevention thing too when you're dating, especially online. Period, point blank, anywhere. But when you're dating online, this is the opportunity for you to vet that person, to really get to know that person. Like you're online. Ask the questions, date. There's no reason why you should be in an online situationship.
I think that's weird.
It is very weird to be in an online situationship because at this point you have no connection. You don't even have to meet this person in person. You know what I'm saying? You can really date, get to know. Try go on coffee dates, do little things to get to know this person. You don't even have to really like get yourself there. Because we get lonely, and people even tell me like, "Oh, I've been dating this person for 3 years and never met."
You're not dating them.
There's an online situation.
It's all in your mind.
You've only seen their face for like 6 months.
Every day you get on that talk, baby, I love you. No, I need physical. I need realness.
Real pictures. I at least start out with real pictures. Show me something.
And to forget the pictures after a while. If we don't date it online, me and Keith met online. But let me tell you something. If he would have showed up, baby, I would have been like, swipe to the left. I swipe right once. I'm going to swipe left now because, baby, you ain't going to keep me on her. I'm valuable. I know my worth, honey. So.
You hear this, Paul? You hear this? Now I got to defend myself. If you wouldn't have, then I would have swiped.
Who came first? Who got on that plane? Who got on the plane?
Okay, Hormiga, how has social media made it easier or harder to maintain healthy communication and relationships?
I think it's having. Oh, I thought you said for Mika. Oh, honey,
No, I would call you. I forgot. I would call you Mika for sure. So
okay.
We good. Oh man, this is a loaded question.
Not really.
I'll make it loaded. For many, it's the worst thing ever created. For some people, it's the best thing ever created. Some benefit from it, and some people don't. Right? But again, we've had this conversation throughout this panel that your character is your character regardless, unless you are different people in different places. You understand? Unless you like what she said, unless you have a different code for different situations. But the truth of the matter is, this is not nothing new. Back in the days, I don't know how old we really are here, but there used to be chat lines where they were very expensive. And then came MySpace and then all this other face and all this. It keeps expanding. And I think that for people that were in a relationship that tried to adapt to social media as opposed to people that were already on social media and then got together with someone, I think those are two different things. You understand? Like, basically, if you met someone and they are already on the scene, right, of being online and people know them, like we obviously have people that follow us. We have connections with people, right? We all have that, right? And we meet somebody, are we willing to leave this alone if they have if they're uncomfortable with our presentation or our character or persona in social media? Because then the question comes, well, are you making money doing this? I think you're wasting a lot of time there, and I think that you could be making money doing something else and blah blah bling. Look, and I wanted to tell you, no stigma. The movie Crash, one of my favorite movies, 1996, and Lolita. You got to put your goals higher, because then those things explode. You know what I'm saying? All the time. So let's go. Have more faith. You can do this. Social media has become a hangout spot, dating, education, laughter, conversation. For some people, rely on this. You remember when TikTok went down for 12 hours and everybody started getting rid of their apps like knuckleheads? You know what I'm saying? And they started, think about this. It was only down for half a day and people felt like the end was near. Like, you understand what I'm saying? So think about this. I was in Puerto Rico at the time and I never lost because I was in a different server. I never lost TikTok. People that were outside of the United States did not lose TikTok. Okay, so I was fine. But the people around me, I was with a big group. Each and every one of them put their head down. They said they did it, man. They finally kicked us out. Now what are we going to do? Even though a lot of us had plans, it still felt a little bit. I felt the empathy of watching everybody of what they was going through, because I felt like I lost too, because what's the point of me having it if I got to go back to the United States in a couple of days and it's not going to work anyway? So, at the end of the day, social media has helped more people than it has not helped, if that makes sense. But it all depends on how curious you are and how reasonable you are and how logical you are, because a lot of people gain these buzzwords. They start learning about accountability through TikTok. They start learning about responsibility, because those are words that people keep mentioning, right? So you learn a lot here if you are searching those things. But if you are watching cat videos all day, you understand, and your videos are more about toxicity and these sites that you go to and people are debating and arguing about something that they don't even know the half of it, but people are just there wanting to be heard. It depends on what you use social media for, because social media can help you in so many different ways. Now, the powers that be, that's how they control us anyway. You understand what I'm saying? Because I don't know if you guys know this or not, but social media abuse is now something that's therapeutic. You can actually now become a coach or a person that can help someone through social media abuse. This is the wave of the future. We're not going to be able to do nothing about it. It's going to be part of the culture whether we like it or not. Now, us, people that are a little bit older, that we were more creative, that we played checkers with rocks and bottle caps, where we invented games because we didn't have any money, you understand? And for those people that went through that, we don't lose that. But this social media does take away a lot of the human touch, right? And the human nature of it. So I'm going to go and say that it does help if it's utilized the right way. But if you're using social media, even when you're in a relationship, because, think about it. When you're in a relationship, you're like, hey, honey, look at this. Look at this. Did you see this? So you're sharing things about, humor. Did you see that? Again, it all depends on the dynamics of the relationships and what you speak about in the beginning of the relationship. If you are into social media and you meet someone and they're not in accordance with social media, you might have a problem, because that's the way you met them. You understand what I'm saying? And again, for the old school people, we got to be a little bit more flexible. We got to be a little bit more open-minded. You understand what I'm saying? We can't deny what's happening here, because you're losing out on a wonderful thing if it's used correctly. At the same time, you have to use discernment of what rooms you go to and where you go. So again, that's character, experience, discernment, wisdom, and all of the above. So I'm going to say that it has impacted a lot of people. A lot of people have also been hurt by fakeness on social media of these personas that Chris was talking about. At the end of the day, you have to use discernment wherever you go, whether you're on social media or not. I still have an outside life. Those people know how I get down. If you meet me in person, you will realize that I'm worse in person than I am actually here. I'm going to tell you right now, I am a handful. You know what I'm saying? Because I love great conversation. I like good energy. I like spiritualness. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't vibe with that in a present moment, if I don't get that vibe, I'm going to give you an opportunity. But if it's a continuous thing that when we're in person, you're not the same person that you are online, then I guess that's going to turn into a situationship too. How about that?
Thank you, Ormiga. Okay, I'm gonna reset the room. Some of you guys were not here earlier for the chat. We don't do any questions until the end, and the panel is closed, so no one is able to come up until it's time for questions. So if you send a request, it will be ignored until it's time for the questions. Okay, Paul, what are some common misconceptions about love and relationships perpetuated by social media?
Oh boy. Okay, so I think I'm just gonna give a few. Social media has created this illusion that is there's something called a perfect relationship, that it exists. And a lot of people will see couples, having pictures, edited pictures, going on, good dates and extravagant things and this and that. And you just feel like, okay, there's a perfect relationship that exists. But the truth of the matter is, the reality of it is, people work on their relationships. They resolve conflicts. They don't bring it online. They don't bring it on social media. They spend time. They are there for each other. There's compromise. There's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes when you see this looking perfect relationship. So the illusion that social media has presented, that there's a perfect relationship, a lot of people that's why a lot of people don't spend time getting to know people. They don't talk to people. They don't, immediately there's a first mistake that done with that person, you automatically conclude. You don't know that you have to keep going, keep building on the relationship, understanding people. So you get to a point that you know that in actuality, y'all are meant for each other. You can be compatible. It takes time. Anything good in life will take time. You have to work on it. People don't understand that both individuals come from different backgrounds. The backgrounds are not the same. Culturally, everything around us are not the same. We both grew up in different households, different environments. Even we grew up in the same street, but different ideology. So you come together, you have to work through it. You have to build through it to have that relationship. People will just admit and think that it's perfect. Another thing that people think is love is measured by the grand gesture, like the expensive cars, the extravagant dates. And so that, when you see those kind of love, it creates this illusion of you have to have money to be in a relationship. Man, people can rent cars and take pictures. People can have their company send them on vacation. They're not going to tell you. They take pictures then. They think they can afford it. People can rent clothes and take good pictures, and you think it's actually their clothes. They rent cars and drive. You don't know that because they will not tell you. And it's still, these are the things that is on social media. Then it has made a lot of people go into materialistic relationships. So they look at a man or a woman. What can I gain from it? It becomes transactional. What am I getting from this person? How is this person going to buy me this? How are they going to send me on vacation? How are they going to do this? So now you've left the point that you need to get to know a person, build a relationship with the person, become a person's friend, brother, sister, love, and all that. Now you're looking at, what am I going to gain from this person? It's all what social media has done. And I love the panel that we've had, and everybody's experienced, intelligent. So for me, when I listen to everybody, I was listening, everybody's coming from this perspective. We all have to be real and realistic with our lives. That, you see, this thing is beyond what you see online, what you see on this app. When you go off this app, people have real lives. They're living their real life. So when you get to meet people, you understand that it's more than social media. And just the last thing I'm going to add is, somebody will see, like for instance, they see Keith and his wife right there kissing, hugging, playing with each other. And automatically they just say, this is perfect. They don't know that they can fight. They can argue. They have conflicts. They resolve the conflicts. They come out, they sit down, they laugh, they smile. So when people see people kissing on social media, holding hands and doing all, they think, oh, this is it. Some of the best relationships are the most secretive and private relationship that nobody brings on social media. It's some of the best relationship that's working. So people put that relationship online, but it's really not working. They put it out in social media like it's perfect. It's really not working. For me, I know that some relationships that have been there for years, they don't put any picture of holding hands, kissing on social media. But when you meet them in person, they've been together for ages. And that's just, I want people to understand that it is more than social media. Build on your relationship, understand people, resolve conflict, understand, in a very peaceful manner. Develop an atmosphere of peace, an aura of peace. Understand that people will fall, but you're there to lift them up, to support them so you grow together. But when it gets toxic, when it gets abusive, it is your clue to step away. But anything and everything can be worked upon, it can be repaired, and you guys can grow together. That's just what I have to say.
Thank you. Would anyone like to add to that?
Yeah, Paul, that was amazing, man. And I don't think me adding anything is going to make it any better because it's as best as it gets. But you bring up a good point. What you see on social media is relationship events, right? And so those events happen, maybe once a month if you're lucky, right? But every couple of months, vacation. It's not the everyday of the relationship, and the everyday of the relationship is where the work happens, so that you can do those elaborate things. So often people want those things, like you said, Paul, want those things that they see on social media, but that's not the relationship, right? The relationship is what we do, when we're off of here in our own personal time together, one-on-one. We can go on 20 vacations a year and not have great communication at home. The relationship is horrible. However, we need to go on trips with other people because we don't even know how to talk to each other. We need other people to make this relationship work for us. So people don't realize that the work takes time. And when you talk about online, right, putting in that work online, like Mika said, we met right here on TikTok, and the work that we did prior, talking to each other every day, committing to calling each other multiple times a day, FaceTiming. I don't even think we really talked on the phone. We did more, we FaceTime like maybe 3, 4, 5 times a day. That's work, you know what I mean? And on top of the commitment, and on top of the distance. And so, all the work that we put in now got us to this place. However, the work don't stop. The work is every day. But the work's not hard either, right? The work's not hard. People say all the time, relationships are hard. It's only hard because you have a challenge with changing for your person, or the person changing for you, or you two becoming one. That's what's hard. But it's easy to love somebody who loves you in return. It's easy to love someone when you're committed to the relationship. And it's not hard at all. So,
or it's hard when someone knows that their intent was never meant to be with that person long term anyway. And now that makes it hard because that person is trying to upgrade or move, to the next level, and you're trying to stay at this level because you tried to manipulate your way in that relationship. So
Yeah, I agree. I'm having a conversation with Morpheus in the chat, right? And he said something interesting, right? And I said, both have to work on it and listen to each other, right? And his answer was, yeah, they submit and compromise with each other for a common goal. Both submit and compromise, because you can't have one without the other. A lot of people do a lot of compromising, but they don't do any submission, right? And that's something that has to be balanced between the relationship. When only one person is submitting, right, and the other one isn't, then they do a whole lot of compromising to try to cover for that part. And it doesn't work. One works with the other, and when one is missing, it's a very unbalanced situation. So I agree with you, Paul, 100%. Absolutely. And with what both of you guys said, it's a beautiful thing what you got going on over there, by the way.
Yeah, and this is another thing. Me and Keith have always said when we come on, like, we're not the perfect couple. Like, we love each other genuinely. There's things that we work through, but we don't post our everyday lives on TikTok. We don't post. And now we're living together, and I do love this man with everything in me.
You better. My fault.
But there are things that we're still, like I'm going to be with him for the rest of my life. That's my plan. That's his plan. We have talked about that. But at the same time, we are working through things, and that's the part where they don't see. Like, relationship take work. We are working daily for our relationship. It's not hard work to me, because when you love someone, it doesn't mean that it's hard work, but it does mean that it takes work and effort. Because I'm used to living and being by myself. He's used to living and being by himself. But my intent was that I want to be in a long distance I want to be in a healthy relationship, and that's what I got. And being that this is my person, that's what I'm going to work towards. I'm not going to just get to this point and be like, oh no, I'm tired, you too much work. No, you get my nerves sometimes, but I love you.
Wisdom, we're going to go over to you now. I apologize for skipping. Once we started doing the transition, I was like, wait a minute, where's Wisdom's question?
I'm listening and learning. Appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. How does a highlight reel of social media affects people's expectations of their partners?
Well, as you said earlier, I think all of the conversations, interconnected, especially what what Paul just said about the illusions. And I think the highlight reels just offer the sale of deception, where people can fall in love with what looks good, and they don't have the ability to pierce what is an obvious superficial, to say that, where you can rent the plane, the car, the clothes, where you can, travel and go and see the things. It makes it easier for people to just buy the love that looks good. So I believe that the highlight reels offer the snippets of deception, where everything is impossible to be good. And to love, truly love, you must first learn to love that which is not good. Because it's one thing to celebrate, and celebration is easy. Anybody, a child can celebrate. And when you have to try to put up with toleration, that toleration has a limit, finite, it has conditions. So if you cannot learn to love that which is not good, then the loving that which is good will also falter. So I think the snippets are deceiving to people, because they're not in that person's narrative. Like in the comments, it was said, there's no such thing as a perfect relationship except what's perfect to the person who defines it. So what may be perfect to that person could be different to every living being, like every living being has its own fingerprint. Even if you're a twin of the same mother, it wouldn't matter. So what is for one may not be for the other, but it's about the understanding of life is not a highlight reel. There may be many in them, good moments and such, and even in those not good moments, there's growth. So what you go through, you grow through, because for every bad day that everybody's ever had, they're still on the other side of that day to tell the story. So you're 1,000 for 1,000 on bad, but we have to have an understanding that the highlight reels come by the definition of the person on whether or not that's good or not good, because you hold the life pen. It's your autobiography of your life. So we have to take those highlight reels and we have to transmute that energy into something positive. Because if we don't do it, then society will tell us what is good and not good based on a view that is not in our own control. So I think those highlight reels are very deceptive. And I think they offer that which is not helpful to a person in trying to define a healthy relationship, because they're only able to buy what looks good. And unfortunately, looks will always change, because change is the nature of life. What's 21 is not 71. So it's about going beyond that and not trying to take that small viewpoint and trying to take a larger viewpoint to know that, marriage is about the work that you put in to get the work out. Nobody goes by the gym and gets muscles because they look in the window. You want it to work out, you put work in. So these things happen to have a way of disarming people to say that, this is the way it has to be, because these are the things that I see and that looks good. So I think that these highlight reels are definitely not helpful to people, even for inspirational aspects, because by living, you will have those, and you've already had them. We've all had them. Even in the worst days, you've had better days. So I think the highlight reels are definitely not helpful.
Thank you, Wisdom. Namaste.
That was good.
Namaste.
Thank you for that.
Appreciate y'all.
Okay, we're going over to Mika. How does receiving likes on social media posts affect self-esteem and perceived desirability in the dating world?
Who's that? Listen, people be wanting likes to give self worth. It's like if you like me, then I'm beautiful, and and everybody see that I'm great. If I don't get likes, then I'm not desirable, and I'm not this. I think if you get 0 likes, you still have to have your self worth and know that you're beautiful anyway. But I think a lot of time people come on and post and use all these filters and all these things just so they can get likes, so that they can feel it kind of give them that identity. A lot of time people come on to social media for likes so that they can have some kind of form of identity, build their self-worth, look at other people, see how many likes other people got. I have heard people literally say, I can't believe she got that many likes and I look better than her. Well, what you know what I'm saying? Like, what does that got to do with her?
Well, what are you talking about in your talking about in your content? It doesn't matter what the person looks like. What are they saying,
But people are doing it, and I see the things that people are putting up for likes, even down to kids. Like, it has become such a horrible thing now that kids are even going on, but like, oh, you think I get likes if I'm like, or feeling like their self-worth is only if they get likes. So people won't post and people won't do certain things unless it costs for them to get likes. And the likes are showing off your body, doing different things to get these likes for people that you're not going to even meet or know. Like, why do you care about these people liking your post? Like, you're never probably going to meet half the people that's liking your post. You're not probably going to even meet one of the people that liked your post. So my thing is, I think that people got to stop using likes and using social media as a way to build self-worth. You should know your worth before you come on. You should know your worth whether you get likes or don't get likes. You should not use social media to build your self-esteem. And if you are having self-esteem issues and you are having self-worth issues, that is the time for you to need to go get therapy and find out why is it that I am needing likes or needing validation from people I don't even know online. Because that is strange to me. And it does worry me about people who are seeking those likes for validations. I think it also causes for us to not be able to socialize like face to face in person. So a lot of people have come home and they'll quickly now jump onto social media to have a social life because they don't feel self-worth, or they know that the people that if you see them in person or out in public, they're gonna see the real you. So they come home and try to get on social media, and that's all they do. Especially if you work from home, you in the house all day, you're using social media as a form of socializing, and that is not healthy. That is not healthy at all. So I think you really need to validate, why you are needing the likes. You really need to start working on your self-worth. And if you feel that you're starting to feel that you're not worthy, this is what I would challenge someone to do. Take a month off of social media and tell me, do you still feel the same way you feel about yourself when you're on social media? Take a month off. And if your self-worth and your self-value is still there with or without likes, then good to go. You don't have a social media diagnosis. But if you are feeling like, oh my God, I'm not feeling worthy, I'm not feeling, valued, then you probably need to go get help and you need to get off of social media.
Yeah, I talked to a friend earlier and she was telling me, if you don't hear from me, if you don't, she's come to the last couple of lives. She's like, I'm taking a break. It's going to be at least a month, and it's from all platforms. It's like, okay. I don't question people when they say that. I mean,
that's what I was talking about earlier. I was talking about the same thing. Sometimes we need to take a hiatus. Sometimes we need to ground. Sometimes we need to separate ourselves from human contact for a little while, because we get to a point where everything starts becoming annoying, and we need to start looking at ourselves a little bit deeper. Like, even myself, I have an incredible amount of self-control, but I found myself losing myself in situations where I hear myself repeating myself. In a relationship, you can help someone as an individual, but if they're not listening to the advice you're giving them, there's two different types of advice: individual advice and relationship advice. There's emotional intelligence, and then there's relationship emotional intelligence. And that requires both of you to be on the same page. Now, we talked about being able to be submissive and being able to compromise with one another, right? But when a person is constantly speaking to someone and they make an excuse like, I don't like your tone, I don't like your volume, and you keep making all these adjustments, and you hear yourself, you're not listening to the context, and it goes back and forth. That's a place where people should not be going, is that back and forth, because that's where the negativity starts going. That's when somebody has to take a lap. So if you can take a lap in a relationship, then you definitely should be able to take a lap as an individual, because you're finding yourself in a situation where you might say something that you don't want to say, you might do something you don't want to do. So a timeout is very important for people that need to ground sometimes. But as long as you warn someone that that's what you're doing, I'm taking some time, I'm figuring something out, then that's really not good.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I also wanted to say this too. A lot of people have used, I don't know if you guys have, here goes Alea, come get the phone. Sorry. Yeah, Michael. But a lot of people have used those. I think that's her. A lot of people have used those. You know, have you seen the lives where they say, show your profile picture and I'll rate you? Have you seen those? And people honestly are sending their profile picture so somebody you don't know can rate you. Rate yourself. If you say you a 10, baby, be a 10. You'll be the best 10. Now, if you want to rate yourself a 1, which I would never rate myself a 1, I'm always going to sit above a 10. But if you want to rate yourself a 1, then you be a 1. You be the best 1 you can be. But I would not send myself, my profile pitch to someone that is online, on a live, to give me validation, because that is exactly what they're doing. They're sending this profile picture that is filtered to somebody you don't even know to rate you. And if he rate you low, guess what you just did to your self-esteem even more?
You look for it, didn't you? You look for it, right? Look, at the end of the day, I have situations where people that I still haven't seen what they really look like, because their profile picture looks like a freaking avatar, right? And these are the people that have the audacity to call you fake. But meanwhile, their main profile picture looks like an avatar. Everything about them, you don't get the reality of it. You know, they live in a fantasy world and they want you to keep up with their fantasy.
Exactly.
How does that work?
I agree.
Okay, we're going over to Keith. How can couples set boundaries around social media to prevent misunderstandings or conflicts?
We had to make some adjustments. You know, that's a really good question. I think boundaries, setting those boundaries are key and really, really important. I'm sorry, excuse me. Hey, me. Thank you. All right. She was talking to her niece, and so she was kind of loud. I didn't know if y'all could hear her. So boundaries are so key and so important. The first thing that needs to happen is having a discussion about what social media. I'm sorry, reading the notes. What's your expectations for social media? What do you expect from your partner for social media, right? The other thing is defining secrecy versus privacy, right? Privacy is healthy. Privacy is that thing that, you know, we don't talk about our relationship on social media, but secrecy is hiding my conversations, deleting those messages that I don't want her to see or that she wants me to see, right? Having those hidden conversations, that does nothing but build mistrust. Talk about your interactions on social media. Talk about the relationships that you have with people or that you had with people in the past. Nika and I had long discussions about, you know, if there was someone that she was interested in or that someone else was interested in her or that she talked to, and the same with me. We talked about all of those things, but we cut that communication off between those other people. We don't hide our social media, but at the same time, I don't look at her social media. I don't look at her, I don't look at her comments. I mean, I look at her comments on the pictures when it involves me, but there's a lot I just don't look at because I don't want to build that mistrust. I don't want her to believe or think that I don't trust her in any way. I trust the woman that I'm with, and she trusts me, and so we don't necessarily have those issues. Also, posting, have some set some posting boundaries. What you post, how does it edify you as an individual? What does that look like on you? But what does that look like on us? I think that's really key. Avoid passive aggressive behaviors is so key. A lot of times couples will get into arguments and fights in their personal lives, and then get on social media and start sending passive aggressive messages or making posts about the argument and fight that they've been in, or they even share some of the information that they're going through with the lives that they're in or with other people. We have to definitely avoid that. Being mindful of online flirting is key. Setting those boundaries. I feel like if I can't respect her when she's not around, she's not my person. If I can't respect her, if she's, when she's not in my presence, then I need to go move on and stop wasting her time and mine. Right. So that's really, really key. And then you have to go back and reevaluate all of those things as needed on a regular basis.
Would anyone like to add to that?
Yeah, I would like to add a little piece to it. The curiosity piece to that. That was beautifully the way you explained that, right? The curiosity is also important. Be very careful what you're curious about. Understand? Because some people are influenced for the wrong reasons, right? And they'll take something and they make it bigger than what it really is. And these are things that need to be discussed and understood. And if there is not a place where you can meet, right, eye to eye or on the same page, then something else has to happen. I'm just saying. But yeah, you're right, Keith. These are all indicators of being responsible and loyal towards the relationship.
Yeah, so true. So true. If a lot of times social media relationships allow you to date multiple people or go deeper in relationships with multiple people without people finding out. So online cheating is so big, right? TikTok cheating is so big because you got somebody in you live in New York, but you got somebody in California, in Texas, maybe Wyoming. I never met nobody from Wyoming, but you may, right? You have all these different people that you're making these commitments to, and you're flying around and you're flying people in, and you flying and having it, but it really messes up the dating pool, right? It really makes the dating pool difficult, and we got to stay away from that. So, it's really important that we set boundaries, not just for our partners, but for ourselves, right? Not just for our partners, but setting those boundaries for ourselves is really, really important. I wish men listened to you, and women, people, period.
Yeah, human beings, right, Keith?
Yeah. We only do with others what they allow us to do, right? And so, let's say a man, for example, may be the person who's doing the most. It's also important for that person that he's dating to set those boundaries for themselves. And when you see those red flags, listen to them. When you see those red flags, know that they're not red. They're red for a reason, right? And I don't really like to talk about red flags, because that's one of those words that's overused, definitely in the therapy world. But we have to be mindful of those things that we see ahead of time. We have to address them and deal with them instead of letting them go.
Let me ask you a question, Keith.
Sure.
How would you look at a situation where both were actually working on the relationship in the dating or the courting phase, right? And they're both working towards something equivalently, and then one gets a little comfortable, doesn't like when the other person checks him on that. You understand what I'm saying? Like everything is fine, all of a sudden, a person takes a step back in certain things, does a little bit less, gets a little bit comfortable, they become a little less reliable, or a little less reluctant to listen to you. Is it okay to check that person when that person is becoming a little too comfortable?
So, I think that my first place for me specifically my first place of accountability is with my partner, right? And so if there are some things, right, that she sees in me that she doesn't like, maybe me getting a little comfortable, or maybe some of my behaviors are, it's important for us to be able to discuss and communicate. If I can't take the communication, if I don't like what's being said, right, then she has the opportunity to say, you know what, this is really not we have to talk about it, right? Oftentimes, we get into relationships, and we are individuals in relationships instead of being partners in relationships. And when we are individuals in relationships, a lot of times it's about what I like versus what you like instead of what we like, right? It's about, I'm this and you're that instead of what are we like, right? And so we have to be able to come together and work through it and have communication. Where there's no communication, there's no relationship.
Right. But after that conversation, right? Help me out understand this. Wisdom, you can speak on this too. In a relationship where you see someone is easing up on what was making the relationship conducive and work, right, for us to coexist, and you bring this to their attention, and the communication is fine, right? And the person says, yes, I hear you. I understand what you're saying, right? And even if they tell you that they're going to try or not try or whatever the case may be, the behavior doesn't change. It either gets worse, right? Because that's the path that they were going, or there is some corrective behavior, right? Because now you may be aware of something, and I understand what you're saying, but I'm also part of the compromise is a change of behavior, right or wrong?
Right.
So, but without the change of behavior, it's not really accountability, is it, right?
Right.
And it seems to me that you're trying to pick and choose the how can I say this, the consequences of your actions as well, by continuing to say, I hear you, and that's it. But you don't get the behavior that comes with it. That's where I'm at. Like, is it okay to continue to check them, get frustrated?
I wouldn't use the word check so much as I would use the word investigate. I think that in order to require something, you must be something. So I think that when a person is peace, the requirement to have that peace be matched requires the investigation of how, what, when, where, and why the changes have taken place. So when it comes from a peaceful understanding where love is the answer, it doesn't matter what the question is, then it requires the same care, as we said, peace and patience that we want for ourselves to give to another, to see what's happening and where it's happening from. So I wouldn't use so much as that word as, the frustration, because we'll realize that our time is not another person's time, no matter what we do, because we're not falling in the love, we're growing in the love. We're not going down, we're going up. So as we grow together and come together, then our times may not be in sync, and that requires the investigation of, again, the who, what, when, where, and why, what's going on. And again, when you are the peace, then you can emit and radiate that peace to another person, but you have to be what you require. So if I require that understanding of change and the corrective behavior, then I have to have that patience that I desire to give to you. I have to have that first. In order to receive these things, I have to be these things. So I think that we have to understand that time may not be in synchronicity at all points. This is where conflict may arise. And at the same time, where it doesn't matter what the question is, love is the answer. When the answer is already known, then you can proceed from a base point that allows you to get the desired result.
That was perfect. In order for you to expect that, you should be that. Right? That way, you're putting yourself in the position to give and receive, as opposed to in your ego. That was awesome.
Perfect.
Okay, we're going to do another scenario, and then we'll give people an opportunity to come up and ask questions. Okay, this is called the social media investigator. You've gone on 3 dates with someone you met through social media. One day you get a DM from an account claiming to be their significant other. When you ask your date, they dismiss it as just an ex who's obsessed. What's the best way to handle this situation? Anybody can jump in and answer the first question.
I'm going straight to him.
Okay.
I'm not taking that test.
Well, I think I'm going straight to him because at this point, my relationship is with him. So if anybody, yeah, I'm going straight to him.
But when you went to him, he said it's just an ex who's obsessed. This is what he says to you when you go to him.
And then I'm going to her. I'm like, now I don't went to him. He don't gave me his answer. I'm going to go to her next, and I'm going to say, because for me, my first thing is I need to check in where I need to check in. Checking in don't sit right with my soul because that she obsessed. Why she obsessed with you? What you do? You know. So now I need to know. I need to do my assessment. Is she cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, or is he really giving her some mixed signals? So now I'm going to go to her and say, well, you know, give me more information. Now I need receipts. Now I need to know what's really going on. And if I feel like this is a situation where she really is just upset ex, then I'm like, okay, child, go get some therapy. But if it's one where he did, you know, have some kind of communication or led her on, now I need to know why, when. I have questions. Yeah, I'm going to investigate this. So I'm going to take steps. I'm going to, you know, do my due diligence. I'm not going to jump the gun at first because that's what people do. I'm not going to jump the gun. I'm going to ask my questions. I'm going to get my answers. And then I'm going to come up with the solution that's best for me. Because at this point, you two have did whatever y'all did, whether she come with ill intent to bring harm to my relationship or he did something by stepping out to cause harm to my relationship. So our relationship. So now my next thing is I need to make the best decision that's best for me. That means that if she coming with some chaos and some confusion and doing stuff that kind of brings some harm to our relationship, then I'm going to tell her, baby, get some therapy. Don't reach out to me no more. If he did something that caused me to have some, you know, some trust issues in that relationship, I'm going to see, one, is this something that I can move past and not have to bring up over and over and over again? Is this going to cause me to have sleepless nights? Or two, is this something that he did that I just cannot move past, and even though it's going to hurt me to leave him, I'm going to still go ahead and choose me first?
I would do personally, send me a picture of you guys together. And then I would check the metadata on the photo to see when the photo was taken. That's what I
said. Receipts. You need those receipts. You're gonna need. I need text. They don't send me just a copy of the head. Right. The whole top part of that whole text. You know.
You said 3 dates, right?
Yes.
So 3 dates. I think that the question is really that I have in the investigation is, how did we not cover this particular bit of information? I think what kept you from having the safety to speak about, you know, what may reach me or not reach me. A lot of women would say, you know, don't bring drama or trouble my way, you know, and most people want to know, you know, before it hits them, you know, that it can sneak up on them. And I think that the most important part is, how fast did I invest my life energy into this particular person after these 3 dates? Because again, the dates are experiences. So after 3 experiences, be they coffee, a park, a movie, a concert, what is my emotional investment and attachment to this person, to where this particular bit of information now has swayed me because I didn't get it at the particular amount of time? So I think it's 2 things. I think it's personal to the investment, and I think the ability to find the information that's required for you to feel safe and comfortable, and the person's ability to give you information where they're safe and comfortable so that they can let you know what's going on. I think those are, again, prerequisites to moving forward. You know, if you don't feel comfortable about telling me something, it's usually, I think, a lot of times where there's no reward for truth. Most people are punished for truth. Most people see the negativity and not the positivity behind being a person of integrity and authenticity, or transparency even, if you will. So I think that a lot of times when we're learning in the early aspect of it, you know, the dating part is learning, and dating is synonymous with longevity. You're dating your wife or husband for a lifetime, for eternity, for the vow.
You're learning them for the vows. Each year they're a new person. Each day they're a new person. So you're constantly in learning mode. You're constantly in compatibility mode because these things change. People grow out of touch, they grow out of parts. So it has to be where information has to come up authentically, honestly, safely. You have to seek it, they have to want to give it. So these are things that should be asked. Those dating aspects and how fast that I pour myself into this after this particular time. That's on me. It's my responsibility to discern what's going on within these 3 days, if that's where I put myself at.
Right. I want to piggyback on wisdom in that 3 dates, we have no context of time. You know, that could be once
That's
a week.
true.
Yeah, so I want to just think about that in terms of perspective. So in that, I think that I automatically want to default to protocol, because I think that if you are trying to establish something with someone, that it is important that you show up gaining trust by protecting the other person. And the way that we protect the other person is by making sure that the other party understands that we are advocating for their safety. That's spiritual, psychological, emotional, physical safety, right? So that means that if I am the one who is receiving the message, then I'm expecting him to protect me and vice versa, meaning that he's going to handle that situation so that I don't have to, because it's not my responsibility to handle something and I don't know that person. I'm also going to err on the side of, in this time that we've come together and had these 3 experiences and all of the experiences in between, because we're vested having conversations on the phone, FaceTiming, whatever, that if that person has not given me any reason to not trust them, then I am going to continue to trust until the evidence unfolds. There will still be something in the back of my mind because I'm human, but I filed that somewhere back here, you know, and if things begin to unfold and it's looking more like, hey, this might be a wife, or he's separated from this person, but that didn't end completely, whatever the situation, then I am going to make a decision based on that. Am I going to do a deep dive and investigate? There's some women who do that. They check in cell phones, bank accounts, all of that. I'm just not her. I'm just not that girl. But there's some women who will do that, you know, but I'm just not that person. I'm like, look, either you want me or you don't. If you don't, that's fine. There's several people who will, and I'll move on.
I'm not one to dig. I'm a very spiritual man, and somehow the truth always comes out. It's like the dirt that's trying to penetrate through the skin, or something that doesn't belong in your body is going to try to get out of your body. You understand? So I'm the type of person that I believe that if you are paying attention, if you are living in your presence, if you are being diligent and you do your check-ins, not just relationship check-ins, but your personal check-ins, the truth will always come out. But we got to be we can't be misled. Like someone had said, you know, people change overnight, and Wisdom attacked that. Not attacked it, he addressed it in a very cordial way, like saying what might be fast for you or overnight for you could be something that was happening that you didn't see, that was brewing up or growing, right, Wisdom? Something to that extent, because we could say, hey, that person changed on me overnight. You might not have been seeing the sign. You may not have been listening. You might not have been paying attention. This person might have checked out a long time ago and is trying their best and praying that you're changing based on the promises that you're making to the other person. Because this happens all the time. Think about the question. How many times does it happen? Like, how many people get caught out there dating someone from social media, having a whole wife, having a whole girlfriend, having a whole boyfriend, right? This happens more often than not. And I find it funny because you're risking you're risking losing both. You have something decent, right? Let's say decent, right? Whatever that means, right? Because we're all subjective. We had something that was working, and you went outside, and now you got caught, and now you're going to lose both. That's risky business. Dating 3 times and somebody else, hey, how you doing? Listen, I just want you to know. Okay, let me see pictures. You're right. Let me see pictures. I want to see you. I want to see a recent picture. I want to see concert tickets, like you said. I want to see something recent. Don't show me pictures when y'all were together. Don't show me last year's pictures of going on vacation and going on that cruise that you was forced to go because you already paid for the tickets and you had no choice. I don't want to hear that.
I think the issue of transparency is a part of
or me, guys, let me say this about what you were saying. If a woman is inboxing another woman about her husband, she's not going anywhere. That's her pattern. She behaves like that regularly, and that's just her way of feeling like she has a little bit of power in the situation. Because a woman who actually discovers that her husband is out there and has established something with somebody else, if she is any type of woman who values herself, she's out of there. She's not going to do a whole lot of investigating. She's not going to run interference. She's just not doing it. She's just gone. Divorce papers already filed, all of that. So women who actually inbox other women about their man are women who are not going anywhere. Historically, that's the way that it goes.
Is that a good or a bad thing?
I think transparency really comes up in that conversation, especially even in 3 weeks. The fact that, it wasn't, brought to the attention of, who you're trying to pursue. Even if you're not saying, okay, we're still dating or I still have something going on or something lingering or I'm coming out of a situationship. I think that transparency, integrity are part of the character building things that are necessary for longevity. And when you find that that's an issue after 3 dates, you're going to find that that type of transparency is going to become an issue longevity wise, because it's not something that I had to ask you. It's something I need to know without you telling me I need to know this. You're supposed to let me know what I didn't ask you. And that, I think, again, is going to show up later on. I think those are simply just patterns waiting to be seen.
I think that anybody who is in the mental health space is going to coach, counsel, or give wise, direction to their client to say, listen, if you are dating somebody or you meet somebody and they say that they're coming out of a relationship or a situationship, you need to ask some quality questions. Number one, how long were you with that person? Number two, how long has it been since you exited that situation? Because chances are, if it's recent, they're definitely not emotionally, psychologically available. And then number two, you need to ask yourself the reason, how long it's been, because research shows that for every year you've been in a relationship with somebody, married, unmarried, widowed, whatever, divorced, literally it takes a year. So for every year that you've been with that person, it takes 3 months to process and to be able to purge that relationship. So imagine somebody who's been married 24, 25, 26 years. They got about 6 years before they're going to be available to even think about a friendship with somebody. That's just the reality. I'm just trying to drop a few gems so you guys really realize what you're up against.
That's very interesting.
I just wanted to say I didn't hear the 3 weeks date part.
No, it wasn't 3 weeks. 3 days. 3 days.
Oh, 3 days. But I'm gonna be honest with going back to what my original question was. The answer was, if it's been 3 dates that I've been on with that person, and someone is reaching out to me, I'm gonna be honest. That's probably gonna be a red flag if someone is messaging me and I only been on 3 dates with that person, and they're telling me, "Oh, that's their man," and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if I'm that invested. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't hear the 3 dates, but if it's just been 3 dates, I don't know if I'm that invested. To me, that's a red flag. That I'm already, first of all, how did that person, that means you had to go and dig for me to find out that I was dating this person. Second of all, I don't know if I even want that early on, that drama early on. So I'm probably going to exit to the left.
Well, you don't.
I'm just gonna be honest. I'm gonna exit to the left.
You don't want that smoke in the beginning, the middle, or the end. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants none of that. I find it interesting when people hyperfixate on. I've been on. I know how to be in a committed relationship. I've been in 3 or 4 long-term relationships. I don't think that's nothing to be proud of. First of all, what you're admitting is that you've been going through the same patterns over and over. You know what I'm saying? That just because you've been in 3 or 4 long-term relationships, that's not something to be proud about. You know what I'm saying? When you leave with that early in the relationship, like I've seen it. I've seen when people do that. Hey, I know how to be in a long-term relationship. I've been in 3 of them. I've been in 4 of them. And I'm like, I don't think the math is mathing when you're explaining things like that. What do you think about that?
You know what? Were you asking a
Yeah,
question?
I'm just throwing it out there.
Oh. I didn't have a thought on that. I was thinking about
Yeah,
something.
there's people that are proud to share with you how many long-term relationships they are, and what they're really telling you is that they've had a lot of failed relationships.
Yeah, I would question that too. If you have said, and this, especially depending on the age of the person, depending on what happened in that relationship. Like, did the person pass away? You know what I'm saying? Like, what was the dynamics of that relationship that caused for it to end? If it was something that was not controlled, you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't just a regular breakup of them just splitting up and just jumping into another relationship. Some people are, widows. Some people are partners passed away. Some people partners became ill and no longer, it's just different things that could cause. So I would want to know why, like what caused for these relationships to end. And even so, like, how long did you give yourself? I know for me, I was divorced 18 years. Like, I took a loan. I was like, I need me time. I dated in between, but I did not want a relationship, And then when I got ready to get in a relationship, it wasn't like every guy that I dated, I was like, oh, that's my man. That's my man. That's my man. I did not say that. I didn't say that was my man until this man. And so, but I think that, you have to really do your research with that person and find out why. What was the reason? Why did those relationships end? How long did they give themselves to heal? And how long did they date in those relationships? That's another thing. Like, how long were they with that person? Maybe they saw some early signs and was just like, no, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? So maybe not early signs, but some signs later in the relationship that caused for them to question that person. And maybe they, just different things. You have to listen. And then you have to also learn the person that you're dating to see, well, does that even make sense? Does that even fit that person's character or the person you're dating? Because a lot of times when people say stuff, I know I have had guys always blame things on the other person, the woman. It was always the woman's fault. And I say woman because I date men. So I hope they ain't saying it was the man's fault. But they will always say it was the woman's fault. She did this, she did that. It was always somebody else's fault and never took any ownership for anything that they did. And so for me, that's a red flag for me too. If all your relationship end because all these women are doing bad things to you, then who are you? First of all, what's your dating pattern? And second of all, why are you not taking any responsibility for any of these things?
Let me reverse it a little bit, right? I myself, let me be vulnerable, right? I myself is one of these people that have been in quite a few, right, long-term relationships. And I came to the conclusion that I was the one. It was my fault. I started realizing the role that I played to the demise of the relationship, what I was doing, what I wasn't doing, what I fought to learn of what works. Continuing to manipulate, continuing to be the person that my way or the highway, the machismo, because you go through generational curses and you become what you see, right? So if that's what you grew up in, most likely you might end up being that person. But there comes a time where you're like, damn, none of this is working, right? But taking accountability for the things that you've done and you do a whole 360 and you offer a whole different person, right? And then you bump into the same person
that you
right, and they come with I'm very proud of the long-term relationships that I had. Why? None of them work. So, I could give you both ends of it. You see how this works? But you're 100% right. There has to come to a time where you recognize that all those failures couldn't have been them.
And I think you also got to start. I know we get a little off topic, but I think you also got to start dating. People always say I have a dating type, and that's fine to have a type that you like, you know, that you date. But sometimes you got to date out. Sometimes we put ourselves in a box, and this is the only person. If he's not 6'1", if he don't have this amount of money, if he don't have this, if he don't have that, and you put yourself in a box, and you keep running into the same man that are the same person, because these are the, you know what I'm saying, same kind of men that you're seeking, that have the same qualification, you know, same thing. And sometimes you got to put yourself in a circle and date outside the box. And also you got to start allowing men to, the person that you meet to be able to give you something that you never had. The one thing I told Keith was that he gave me, I didn't want familiar. I didn't want familiar in my relationship that with him. I wanted something unfamiliar. I wanted to feel something that I never felt with anybody else before. And he did. He gave me an unfamiliar feeling that I never felt. Like everybody else, I can say, oh Lord, I already know how this is gonna go. You know what I'm saying? Same story, same song, same this. Like you heard it all. But he gave me something different. And sometimes you got to take yourself outside of your box, and it may not look like what you want, but it's everything you probably need.
Interesting. I mean, listen, people talk about that there's no manual on how to do this. And we all agree that life is always changing, right? It's always evolving. Even relationship styles change too. Because we're not doing things the way we used to do. We'll take some traditions, right? But we got to put a modern twist to it, because that's what's happening at the moment. We cannot deny that this is not the same as it was before. But what doesn't change is good fundamentals, good basics, right? Building on a strong character, right? Learning to trust, to be loyal, to understand each other and work with each other. That's never going to change. Because if you think that a relationship is going somewhere without those things, then you got something else coming to you.
And another thing you can do, one other thing, you know, we were taught, like, write down a list about what you want in your man, put it in the Bible. I don't know if y'all were taught, like, we as women, you know, other women have told us to do this. Write down this list of everything you want in a man, and then you stick it in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? And you go get your Boaz. Well, first of all, I don't want a Boaz, because Boaz didn't choose her. He has to settle for her. I don't want to be settled for her, number one. So, and two, I think it's the vice versa. You write down everything that you want to be to that person, because you're seeking something, that you're asking for something of a person that you don't even know can give you all of that. They may not be able to give you everything that you put down on that list, but you know what you're able and capable of giving someone else, and what you need to work on. So you need to write down a list of who you are as a woman, as a wife, or as a husband, or as a man, that you're able to give that person, and you be that. And then that way you start seeking the person that you need, and you start filtering out the person that is totally not for you, as that husband that you know, or that wife that you know you are.
I think Winston was trying to make that point earlier, right?
Oh.
Yeah, no, a long time ago, like in the beginning of this. I think he was earlier he was trying to hint on that, is that we've lost a lot along the way, a lot of important communication tools, because of the easiness of social media, right? And the quick swipe left, and the quick swipe right. It's fascinating to me, you know, how a lot of people have this image of the person that they want is supposed to be, and if that person doesn't fit what you already thought of in your head, that person is a failure. That person's the amount of negativity that comes out of somebody's mouth when you meet someone, and at first they appear to be this Prince Charming or this queen, right? And you're not accepting this person for who they are. You're expecting this person to
be who you put down on that list.
Persona that you created, this dreamboat of a person. You understand, this glamorous person. And then when you get to know them, you be like, damn, you was all that things except the character that needed to come with it. I forgot.
And then you say they didn't meet my expectation. No, you didn't meet your expectation.
Exactly.
That's pretty good. No,
exactly.
That's pretty good. I think that in this, when we're having these same conversations, I think that we're saying the same things, in different ways from different perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
I'll end so we can move to the next one. But I think that one of the key and most important things is that even in our marriages, is that there's self development and there's a reason to bring the water unto yourself, because when you pour into somebody else's cup, for whatever reason you do, and it's easy to do, it's nothing wrong with it, there's no problem with it, but that can change at any particular moment.
Right.
To yourself, then it's you who become the master of the garden that you wish to grow. Because when you look outside of yourself to see if the grass is greener, then you haven't checked the grass under your feet. So
Yep.
development is one of the keys to longevity. So when you're asking for a person for, the marriage and the things like that, remember that there are vows that come with that. Ask for the person who's for the longevity. Because when you say send me my person right now, at whatever your number is, 4353, that's not 637383, and it's going to look different. They're going to be different.
If you
So you have
wanna
to ask
be with
for
me,
something
baby,
that's going to
there's a
be.
price to pay.
Oh, you're going to just have to, make sure that you're talking about longevity, whatever that is, and keep in mind alignment, so that your purpose and the alignment of the story makes sense. So go ahead, girl. I'll leave with that.
I agree, 1000%.
I was going to ask Wisdom a question. There's like two more parts. We're only going to do one. How can you verify if someone is truly single before getting emotionally invested?
That's a good question. And I think the best way to be honestly doing that is to be about your purpose. I think the greatest way to do that is to be, because when you're busy spending the time developing yourself, a person that's trying to learn you, trying to attach themselves with you, they only have a commit. You only have, they say 24 hours in a day. It's really 12 hours in a day, 12 hours in a night. So when they're committing that effort and energy to fitting that time into your time as you go along, as I said this in Hey Shorts Live the other day, when a man is on his purpose, he will stop and investigate that which is in his path, because it's in his path. So if a woman is in the path of that man and it's on alignment with his purpose, then he'll stop, slow down, and investigate. Investigation requires caution. So if he's busy doing what he needs to do for himself and his self-development, then whatever comes along with that will match that and be in alignment with that, and it will show itself to be true. So you must live in order to allow it to show itself, because then we get caught up in the doubt that comes with, well, I don't know whether this is or this is not. But you're not busy focused in on yourself and the interior of self and making yourself what you're desiring to be. You're busy worrying about this. So you're looking outside yourself instead of inside yourself. And I think we get caught up with, whether or not this person can deceive us, whether they can hide from us. So, we believe what we hear when we should believe none of what we hear and half of what we see. Because that's not what it is. It's about our heart space and what feels to us that's in alignment with our purpose and path as we move. So how you find that out for me is staying on your path and purpose and allowing things to reveal themselves unto you, so that it's not a disappointment when they can mislead your ear and, misguide your eye. So that's what I have for it.
Thank you. Son LT, welcome in.
Good evening, everybody.
How are you?
Good. How are y'all? So I got two questions. If I could go ahead and ask them, if that's all right.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so first question is, and anybody can answer, do you think it's rude or wrong to ghost someone once you have told them your intentions and your boundaries, and they purposely cross those boundaries and ignore what you said? Not knowing them, not really knowing them real well. Let me set the background. Not really knowing them. Just for example, I'll just tell you. So this guy comes in my DMs. He's been on a couple of lives. I'm saying, oh, hey, what's up? Yeah, we can be friends. I'm not dating. I'm on a healing journey, but I'm cool being friends with you, talking to you, whatever. So that he purposely crosses those boundaries. And then I just kind of quit talking to him.
Let me ask you this, because we use the words boundaries a lot. And we oftentimes confuse those words boundaries with walls, right? And so the difference is your boundaries is based on your healing, but your walls is based on your trauma, right? And so sometimes we'll say, he or she crossed the boundaries, but what they really did was attack the walls, which provoked your trauma, and then how you respond to that person then becomes a trauma response, and your response is can also be unhealthy. But to answer your question, do I think it's wrong for someone to do that? Yes, I think communication is always key, and being able to communicate what it is that you desire in this person and sticking to the boundaries in which that person has. If someone crosses your boundaries, right, multiple times, the first time, it needs to be addressed. The second time, it becomes a fault. But if there's a third time, then that fault belongs to you, right? You continue to allow that person to cross your boundaries, then you have to look at yourself and say, why do I continue to allow
Absolutely.
it? And,
Absolutely.
and if that's the case, if that's the case, then it may be a wall and not a boundary.
Right. And so that it's not a wall, it's definitely a boundary, because I made that point up front. I'm not dating because I'm on a healing journey, but I don't mind to talk to you as a friend. And it happened once, and I'm like, look, I don't cool with being friends with you, but I've already said this. And then it happened twice, and I was like, okay, dude, I'm done.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like he's looking for more than what you're looking for in the moment,
Right.
and so it's okay to communicate over and over again that, hey, remember that I stated that this is what it is, and I'm not looking for anything more. And if it continues, you get to eliminate that relationship from your life.
Right. So I just kind of ghosted him. Like, I haven't said anything else. And neither has he, thank God. But
I don't see nothing wrong with that part when you start ghosting him. If you have said over that you don't want this and he continued to not respect what you said, and then yes, ghosting him. I don't call it ghosting. I call it just
stopping the communication.
Communication, because at this point there's no need to communicate even further, because you have already told him what you were not able to do, and apparently he's not getting it. So I don't even call it ghosting. I just call it, you just cut him off. You just like, I'm going to end this. I'm going to protect myself and what I say, because apparently you cannot respect.
right.
And it's not ghosting because y'all wasn't in a relationship, right?
Right. Well, I know, but I don't like to my friends that way either. So I kind of felt bad. But
Well, I don't think he was a friend if he can't, and that's the thing too. He can't be a friend if he never respected what you stated. A friend doesn't do that. So this is, to me, not even someone that I would even consider a friend. If you have told him several times, I'm not interested, I'm not trying to date, and he continued to force himself, to try to get you to date him, you did what you had to do
That's weird. That's so weird, because me being 55, I grew up where people would say, if you really want something, you gotta keep hacking at it.
You gotta be persistent. You gotta be persistent.
Right. So then that leaves a
It's the work,
generational
not the
contradiction.
relationship.
That's a generational contradiction, right? Because we've been taught as men, hey, she might be resistant in the beginning,
but she really no doesn't mean no. No doesn't mean no.
And that's
right.
okay, wait a minute. I'll be 50 this year, and I'm no. I don't
That's
agree.
a contrast right there. If you're old school and traditional, that is definitely a contrast. You know what I'm saying?
What was your second question?
Okay, so my second question is for Mika. Do you think it's a good idea, whenever I am healed and once I start dating, is to write down my intolerables?
Again, you mean like your things that you're not going to tolerate in the relationship, right?
Right.
And again, I will go back to the list need to be focused on you, because I write those things down, because if you know the kind of woman and wife that you want to be, there's no need for you to write those things down. You already know. you're focusing on being that wife and that woman to that man. And if you see those red flags, just like you saw the red flags with this dude, if you see those red flags, then you already know that person is not going to be, you're not going to be wifey material to him, or you're not going to be able to be that wife to him. I don't think it's anything wrong with having those and having standards for yourself. I don't think, I just personally, for me, I would not have written those things down. My focus is in a healed place. You're working on your healing. So my healing has to deal totally 100% with me, meaning like I need to understand the wife I am, the woman I want to be, the wife I want to be, what things that I do in my last relationship that I can do better. You already know what that guy did. There's nothing else that you can take from that relationship and place on another man, because that's what happened. You start taking all of the things that he was and was not to you, and then you start characterizing that other man that's already going to be like him by writing those things down. And then you start basing, judging, like saying, this is the saying where all men are dogs. You know what I'm saying? Well, all men are not dogs. You didn't date all men, so you don't know that. And so we take that from the bad relationships that we experience and start putting all these things down. And by the time you finish, you got a book of things. You might as well just be by yourself for the rest of your life. Because there may be some things in that other man that you meet that may be similar to the man that you dated, but doesn't mean that he's going to be him. And sometimes, go ahead, Wisdom.
I'm sorry. I'm chomping at the bit before I lose my thought. I was trying to write it down while you were talking.
But I understand. I know how it goes.
I would say this, while you're talking about writing things, write the things that you desire to attract. I would offer you these 4 things to write. Write down love, because when chaos comes, you have to remember how to love yourself. You have to, because when you want to love somebody, you have to be the love that you want to offer. Write down peace, because if you want to be a peaceful woman to a man, you have to be a peaceful person yourself to start with. Write down happiness and how to be happy when sadness comes. How do you keep yourself happy? Because you can't place the expectation of these things on anybody else other than yourself. That's your responsibility. So when the ebb and flow comes, make sure that you're attracting the right things that match the alignment that you desire, because whatever you put your energy to is what you attract. So if you're going to focus on the negativities, that's what you get more of. The she or he who has, more will be given. So you have to make sure that you're focusing on the things that you're desiring and making sure that you're preparing yourself to be successful. And in order for you to be successful, you have to have a game plan for those things, because that's the work that comes. So write those 4 things down and make sure that you're learning for yourself so that you have a leg to stand on when they come to you.
Okay, so you said love, peace, happiness, and I'm sorry, what was number 4?
Joy.
One thing that I like about what Mika said and what Wisdom said was that when you talking about intolerables, they didn't focus on the other person. They didn't focus on what you won't tolerate from someone else. What they focused on was yourself. And so, if you focus on self, you will attract those things. And this is what Wisdom said as well. You will attract that person that you desire. And your healing process is continual, right? Your healing process is ongoing. And so sometimes you won't know that you're healed until you're tried by the fire, right? And so, just be patient with yourself and allow yourself to seek those things so that you can find the love that you desire.
And another reason why I say that, because even for me, when I wrote things down, son, what is it, Sun LT,
Sunlight, whatever.
Okay. When I wrote the things down for me, this is how I knew when I reached my true healing point, because I didn't focus on every bad thing that happened to me in relationship. I took them out. I'm like, okay, that is no longer a problem in my life. Them jive turkeys are no longer a problem in my life. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What I need to focus on is my healing.
Did you say jive turkey?
Yeah, I did. And so when I start focusing on my healing, this is when I knew I was ready to date. Sometimes when you write those lists out for the other man, like everything you don't want in a man, it's symbolizing you're not healed. It's symbolizing that you're still in a hurt place, so you're gonna date hurt. So you need to write down everything about you that you value about yourself, the wife that you are, the person that you are, not what people told you you are, not what people made you feel that you are, but who you identify as yourself, as someone who has healed, because then that's what you're going to present to the world. They will no longer be able to tell you who you are as a wife and who you are as a woman, because now you have that identity.
Right. That is some good stuff. Thank you both.
Quick,
Wisdom.
quick question, LT. When you were talking about that list that you were presenting, was that a deal breaker list?
That was a deal breaker list.
Yeah.
Okay. You see, that's funny because that's 100% right. Like we always talk about and think about what we want in somebody else, but we never think about who are we willing to be to match that energy. We want, and we get really comfortable and forget that there's a role that we have to play too in order to match that energy. Like, for instance, we all heard this. You want an emotional, intelligent person? Well, that comes with certain attributes, certain characteristics and knowledge that you must have and understand how that person functions in order for you to be a part of an emotional, intelligent person. That's just an example.
Right. No, I get it. And thank you. I've heard that before and I'm learning. So
We all are.
You got this.
Thank you for coming up.
thank you.
All right, let's go to Down to Earth. She
And then
had
that's gonna be it. Yeah.
Oh, thank you all. I've been patiently waiting, and I respect all of you. I'm here to learn. So what I have to say is, I've been in the dating game. I'm
And down to earth. You've been up here before, and I'm just gonna say, be mindful of the time. Get to the question. Don't give us a whole drawn out story because it's almost midnight. Some of these people have been up here for 4 hours, so please just ask the question, whatever the question is. If you have to do a little bit of add on, that's fine, but don't tell us a story and then ask the question. Ask the question.
Okay. So my question is, I've been single for like 3 or 4 years, and when I was single, I didn't have a relationship. But then now, I pursue a relationship, and it wasn't of God. So my thing is, when you're waiting on God to possess that man or that woman, because I'm not being like singleness, or so what do you say to me as a single woman who has been waiting for God to send her a husband?
You said you've been waiting, but what have you been doing in that time?
Oh, praying, going to school, waiting, and going to God in prayer.
My question is this: How have you been trying to develop yourself as a wife?
yes.
What skills have you added into yourself as a wife, as a woman? What is your self-development plan like for the purpose that you want to achieve? How are you being the best version of yourself? Because what you're wanting is not perfection, but the best thing for you as you are. And in order to find that, again, as I said about men, when you're on your purpose and path, you'll find what is looking for you is what you're looking for. It's the same thing. Energy attracts likeness. So if you're developing yourself as a wife, the husband finds you because you're becoming what he wants. So in order to, again, as I always say, be the thing that you want. If it's a wife, then you have to be developing yourself as that. If it, so just that, those are the simple things to ask unto yourself, because these are self questions in the mirror as you reflect upon what work you're doing to achieve your goal. And that self-development, character development, skill development, these are the things that bring you what it is you want, because you have to have already been rejoiceful. If you're saying it from a spiritual standpoint, then when you ask, you have to be in joyful reception of your question has already been answered. So you simply have to continue on being that which you are trying to receive.
And I would say thank you because I am a woman of God. I've been through life. I respect every person that's up here, and it's been a blessing. So for me, I will take everything that everybody said. I will acknowledge it. I will apply it to my life, and I will wait, not be in a rush, but wait for what God has in store for me as my husband.
All right.
Thank you. Thanks for coming up. We appreciate you. Want to thank all the panelists for participating. Everyone that's in the audience, thank you for tapping, sharing as well as gifting. We appreciate you guys. I'll have another panel at the end of the month, and I'll release some information right before it happens. So again, thank you, panelists, and look forward to working with you guys again soon in the future.
Thanks, Go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Go.
Don't forget the Eagles. Cheer for the Eagles on Sunday.
You know he had to throw that in there, right?
Fly, Eagles, fly.
I don't have no Eagle shirt.
Yes, you do. Fly, Eagles, fly. She got one on too.
Not Mika wearing the Eagles shirt instead of the Falcon shirt.
I know, right? I know. I gotta support my man though.
Yeah.
My man.
My man.
All right. For Mika, have a good one, my brother.
Take care.
Listen, thank you for having me. It has been a great, enlightening experience. I enjoyed every second of it.
You know, we always enjoy you, so
Thank you.
Thank you for staying the whole time as well. That's the other thing.
I got work to do. I can't wait till tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
See ya.
Later, guys.